The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the air in The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. Ladies and gentlemen, the director of the Mercury Theater and star of these broadcasts, Orson Welles.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's, and yet as mortal as his own. We know now that as human beings busied themselves about their various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied, perhaps almost as narrowly as a man with a microscope might scrutinize the transient creatures that swarm and multiply in a drop of water. With infinite complacence, people went to and fro over the earth about their little affairs, serene in the assurance of their dominion over this small, spinning fragment of solar driftwood, which by chance or design, man has inherited out of the dark mystery of time and space. Yet across an immense ethereal gulf, minds that are to our minds as ours are to the beasts in the jungle, intellects, vast, cool, and unsympathetic, regarded this earth with envious eyes and slowly and surely drew their plans against us. And in the 39th year of the 20th century came the Great Disillusionment. It was near the end of October. Business was better. The war scare was over. More men were back at work. Sales were picking up. On this particular evening, October 30th, the Crosley service estimated that 32 million people were listening in on radios.
For the next 24 hours, not much change in temperature. A slight atmospheric disturbance of undetermined origin is reported over Nova Scotia, causing a low-pressure area to move down rather rapidly over the northeastern states, bringing a forecast of rain accompanied by winds of light gale force. Maximum temperature 66, minimum 48. This weather report comes to you from the Government Weather Bureau. We take you now to the Meridian Room in the Hotel Park Plaza in downtown New York, where you will be entertained by the music of Raymond Raquello and his orchestra.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. From the Meridian Room in the Park Plaza Hotel in New York City, we bring you the music of Raymond Raquello and his orchestra. With a touch of the Spanish, Raymond Raquello leads off with La Comparsita.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt our program of dance music to bring you a special bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News. At 20 minutes before 8 Central Time, Professor Farrell of the Mount Jennings Observatory, Chicago, Illinois, reports observing several explosions of incandescent gas occurring at regular intervals on the planet Mars. The spectroscope indicates the gas to be hydrogen and moving toward the Earth with enormous velocity. Professor Pearson of the observatory at Princeton confirms Farrell's observation and describes the phenomenon as, quote, like a jet of blue flame shot from a gun, unquote. We now return you to the music of Raymond Raquello, playing for you in the Meridian Room of the Park Plaza Hotel, situated in downtown New York.
And now a tune that never loses favor, the ever-popular Stardust, Raymond Raquello and his orchestra.
Ladies and gentlemen, following on the news given in our bulletin a moment ago, the Government Meteorological Bureau has requested the large observatories of the country to keep an astronomical watch on any further disturbances occurring on the planet Mars. Due to the unusual nature of this occurrence, we have arranged an interview with a noted astronomer, Professor Pearson, who will give us his views on this event. In a few moments, we will take you to the Princeton Observatory at Princeton, New Jersey. We return you until then to the music of Raymond Raquello and his orchestra. We are ready now to take you to the Princeton Observatory at Princeton, where Carl Phillips, our commentator, will interview Professor Richard Pearson, famous astronomer. We take you now to Princeton, New Jersey.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Phillips speaking to you from the observatory at Princeton. I'm standing in a large semicircular room, pitch black except for an oblong split in the ceiling. Through this opening, I can see a sprinkling of stars that cast a kind of frosty glow over the intricate mechanism of the huge telescope. The ticking sound you hear is the vibration of the clockwork. Professor Pearson stands directly above me on a small platform, peering through the giant lens. I'll ask you to be patient, ladies and gentlemen, during any delay that may arouse during our interview. Besides the ceaseless watch of the heavens, Professor Pearson may be interrupted by telephone or other communications. During this period, he is in constant touch with the astronomical centers of the world. Professor, may I begin our questions?
Any time, Mr. Phillips.
Professor, would you please tell our radio audience exactly what you see as you observe the planet Mars through your telescope?
Nothing unusual at the moment, Mr. Phillips. A red disk swimming in a blue sea. Transverse stripes across the disk. Quite distinct now because Mars happens to be at the point nearest the Earth, in opposition, as we call it.
In your opinion, what do these transverse stripes signify, Professor Pearson?
Not canals, I can assure you, Mr. Phillips.
They...
Although that's the popular conjecture of those who imagine Mars to be inhabited. From a scientific viewpoint, the stripes are merely the result of atmospheric conditions peculiar to the planet.
Then you're quite convinced, as a scientist, that living intelligence as we know it does not exist on Mars?
I'd say the chances against it are 1,000 to 1.
And yet, how do you account for these gas eruptions occurring on the surface of the planet at regular intervals?
Phillips, I cannot account for it.
By the way, Professor, for the benefit of our listeners, how far is Mars from the Earth?
Approximately 40 million miles.
Well, that seems a safe enough distance. Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Someone has just handed Professor Pearson a message. While he reads it, let me remind you that we are speaking to you from the observatory in Princeton, New Jersey, where we are interviewing the world-famous astronomer, Professor Pearson. One moment, please. Professor Pearson has passed me a message which he has just received. Professor, may I read the message to the listening audience?
Certainly, Mr. Phillips.
Ladies and gentlemen, I shall read you a wire addressed to Professor Pearson from Dr. Gray of the Natural History Museum, New York. Quote, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Seismograph registered shock of almost earthquake intensity occurring within a radius of 20 miles of Princeton. Please investigate. Signed, Lloyd Gray, Chief of Astronomical Division. Unquote. Professor Pearson, could this occurrence possibly have something to do with the disturbances observed on the planet Mars?
Hardly, Mr. Phillips. This is probably a meteorite of unusual size, and its arrival at this particular time is merely a coincidence. However, we shall conduct a search as soon as daylight permits.
Thank you, Professor. Ladies and gentlemen, for the past 10 minutes, we've been speaking to you from the observatory at Princeton, bringing you a special interview with Professor Pearson, noted astronomer. This is Carl Phillips speaking. We are returning you now to our New York studio.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the latest bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News. Toronto, Canada. Professor Morse of Macmillan University reports observing a total of 3 explosions on the planet Mars between the hours of 7:45 p.m. and 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This confirms earlier reports received from American observatories. Now, nearer home, comes a special bulletin from Trenton, New Jersey. It is reported that at 8:50 p.m., a huge flaming object, believed to be a meteorite, fell on a farm in the neighborhood of Grover's Mill, New Jersey, 22 miles from Trenton. The flash in the sky was visible within a radius of several hundred miles, and the noise of the impact was heard as far north as Elizabeth. We have dispatched a special mobile unit to the scene, and we'll have our commentator, Carl Phillips, give you a word picture of the scene as soon as he can reach there from Princeton. In the meantime, we take you to the Hotel Martinet in Brooklyn, where Bobby Millett and his orchestra are offering a program of dance music. We take you now to Grover's Mill, New Jersey.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Carl Phillips again, out at the Wilmot Farm, Grover's Mill, New Jersey. Professor Pearson and myself made the 11 miles from Princeton in 10 minutes. Well, I hardly know where to begin. To paint for you a word picture of a strange scene before my eyes, like something out of a modern Arabian Night. Well, I just got here. I haven't had a chance to look around yet. I guess that's it. Yes, I guess that's the thing directly in front of me. Half buried in a vast pit. Must have struck with terrific force. The ground is covered with splinters of a tree. It must have struck on its way down. But I can see the object itself doesn't look very much like a meteor. At least not the meteors I've seen. It looks more like a huge cylinder. Has a diameter of, what would you say, Professor Pearson?
What's that?
What would you say, what's the diameter of this?
About 30 yards.
About 30 yards. The metal on the sheath is, well, I've never seen anything like it. The color is sort of yellowish white. There's curious spectators now are pressing close to the object in spite of the efforts of the police to keep them back. Getting in front of my line of vision. Would you mind standing one side, please? While the police are pushing the crowd back. Here's Mr. Wilmot, owner of the farm here. He may have some interesting facts to add. Mr. Wilmot, would you please tell the radio audience as much as you remember of this rather unusual visitor that dropped in your backyard? A step closer, please. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Wilmot.
Well, I was listening to the radio.
Closer and louder, please.
Pardon me?
Louder, please, closer.
Yes. I was listening to the radio and kind of drowsing. That professor fellow was talking about Mars, so I was half chosen and half...
Yes, Mr. Wilmot, and then what happened?
Well, as I was saying, I was listening to the radio, kind of halfway.
Yes, Mr. Wilmot, and then you saw something.
Well, not first off. I heard something.
And what did you hear?
A hissing sound like this. Kind of like a 4th of July rocket.
Yes, then what?
I turned my head out the window and would have sworn I was asleep and dreaming.
Yes?
I seen a kind of greenish streak and then zingo. Something smacked the ground, knocked me clear out of my chair.
Well, were you frightened, Mr. Wilmot?
Well, I ain't quite sure. I reckon I was kind of riled.
Well, thank you, Mr. Wilmot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you want me to tell
No, that's quite all right. That's plenty. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just heard Mr. Wilmot, owner of the farm where this thing has fallen. I wish I could convey the atmosphere, the background of this fantastic scene. Hundreds of cars are parked in a field in back of us, and the police are trying to rope off the roadway leading into the farm, but it's no use. They're breaking right through. Cars' headlights throw an enormous spotlight on the pit where the object's half buried. Now, some of the more daring souls now are venturing near the edge. Their silhouettes stand out against the metal sheen. One man wants to touch the thing. He's having an argument with the policeman. Now, the policeman wins. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's something I haven't mentioned in all this excitement, but it's becoming more distinct. Perhaps you've caught it already on your radio. Listen, please. Do you hear it? It's a curious humming sound that seems to come from inside the object. I'll move the microphone nearer. Here. Now, we're not more than 25 feet away. Can you hear it now? Professor Pearson.
Yes,
can you tell us the meaning of that scraping noise inside the thing?
possibly the unequal cooling of its surface.
I say, do you still think it's a meteor, Professor?
I don't know what to think. The metal casing is definitely extraterrestrial. Not found on this Earth. Friction with the Earth's atmosphere usually tears holes in a meteorite. This thing is smooth, and you can see its cylindrical
Just a minute.
shape.
Something's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, this is terrific. This end of the thing is beginning to flake off. The top is beginning to rotate like a screw, and the thing must be hollow.
He's moving. Keep back there. Keep back there. Keep those men back. Keep back there. Keep those idiots back. Take off. The top's loose. Look out there. Stand back.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most terrifying thing I've ever witnessed. Wait a minute. Someone's crawling out or something. I can see coming out of that black hole two luminous discs. The eyes, it might be a face, might be almost Good heavens, something wriggling out of the shadow like a gray snake. Now it's another one, and another one, and another one. They look like tentacles to me. Oh, yeah, I can see the thing's body now. It's large as a bear. It glistens like wet leather, but that face, ladies and gentlemen, it's indescribable. I can hardly force myself to keep looking at it. It's so awful. The eyes are black, and they gleam like a serpent. The mouth is a kind of V-shape with saliva dripping from its rimless lips. It seems to quiver and pulsate, and the monster or whatever it is can hardly move. It seems weighed down by possibly gravity or something. The thing's rising up now, and the crowd falls back. There seems plenty. The most extraordinary experience, ladies and gentlemen. I can't find words. Well, I'll pull this microphone with me as I talk. I'll have to stop the description until I can take a new position. Hold on, will you, please? I'll be right back in a minute.
We are bringing you an eyewitness account of what's happening on the Wilmuth Farm, Grover's Mill, New Jersey. We now return you to Carl Phillips at Grover's Mill.
Ladies and gentlemen, am I on? Ladies and gentlemen, here I am, back of a stone wall that adjoins Mr. Wilmuth's garden. From here, I get a sweep of the whole scene. I'll give you every detail as long as I can talk and as long as I can see. More state police have arrived. They're drawing up a cordon in front of the pit. About 30 of them. No need to push the crowd back now. They're willing to keep their distance. The captain conferring with someone. Can't quite see who. Oh, yes, I believe it's Professor Pearson. Yes, it is. Now they've parted, and the professor moves around one side, studying the object while the captain and two policemen advance with something in their hands. I can see it now. It's a white handkerchief tied to a pole. Flag of truce. If those creatures know what that means, what anything means. Wait a minute, something's happening. Humped shape is rising out of the pit. I can make out a small beam of light against a mirror. What's that? There's a jet of flame springing from the mirror, and it leaps right at the advancing men. It strikes them head on. Oh, Lord, they're turning into flames. Oh, the whole field's caught up by the woods, the barns, the gas tanks for the automobiles spreading everywhere. It's coming this way now, about 20 yards to my right.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue the broadcast from Grover's Mill. Evidently, there's some difficulty with our field transmission. However, we will return to that point at the earliest opportunity. In the meantime, we have a late bulletin from San Diego, California. Professor Indelkoffer, speaking at a dinner of the California Astronomical Society, expressed the opinion that the explosions on Mars are undoubtedly nothing more than severe volcanic disturbances on the surface of the planet. We continue now with our piano interlude.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just been handed a message that came in from Grover's Mill by telephone. Just one moment, please. At least 40 people, including 6 state troopers, lie dead in a field east of the village of Grover's Mill, their bodies burned and distorted beyond all possible recognition. The next voice you hear will be that of Brigadier General Montgomery Smith, commander of the state militia at Trenton, New Jersey.
I have been requested by the governor of New Jersey to place the counties of Mercer and Middlesex as far west as Princeton and east to Jamesburg under martial law. No one will be permitted to enter this area except by special pass issued by state or military authorities. 4 companies of state militia are proceeding from Trenton to Grover's Mill and will aid in the evacuation of homes within the range of military operations. Thank you.
You have just been listening to General Montgomery Smith, commanding the state militia at Trenton. In the meantime, further details of the catastrophe at Grover's Mill are coming in. The strange creatures, after unleashing their deadly assault, crawled back in their pit and made no attempt to prevent the efforts of the firemen to recover the bodies and extinguish the fire. The combined fire departments of Mercer County are fighting the flames which menace the entire countryside. We have been unable to establish any contact with our mobile unit at Grover's Mill, but we hope to be able to return you there at the earliest possible moment. In the meantime, we take you to... Just one moment, please. Ladies and gentlemen, I have just been informed that we have finally established communication with an eyewitness of the tragedy. Professor Pearson has been located at a farmhouse near Grover's Mill, where he has established an emergency observation post. As a scientist, he will give you his explanation of the calamity. The next voice you hear will be that of Professor Pearson, brought to you by direct wire. Professor Pearson.
Of the creatures in the rocket cylinder at Grover's Mill, I can give you no authoritative information either as to their nature, their origin, or their purposes here on Earth. Of their destructive instrument, I might venture some conjectural explanation. For want of a better term, I shall refer to the mysterious weapon as a heat ray. It's all too evident that these creatures have scientific knowledge far in advance of our own. It's my guess that in some way they are able to generate an intense heat in a chamber of practically absolute non-conductivity. This intense heat they project in a parallel beam against any object they choose by means of a polished parabolic mirror of unknown composition, much as the mirror of a lighthouse projects a beam of light. That is my conjecture of the origin of the heat ray.
Thank you, Professor Pearson. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a bulletin from Trenton. It is a brief statement informing us that the charred body of Carl Phillips has been identified in a Trenton hospital. Now, here's another bulletin from Washington, D.C. The Office of the Director of the National Red Cross reports 10 units of Red Cross emergency workers have been assigned to the headquarters of the state militia, stationed outside of Grover's Mill, New Jersey. Here's a bulletin from State Police, Princeton Junction. The fires at Grover's Mill and vicinity are now under control. Scouts report all quiet in the pit, and there is no sign of life appearing from the mouth of the cylinder. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special statement from Mr. Harry McDonald, Vice President in charge of operations.
We have received a request from the state militia of Trenton to place at their disposal our entire broadcasting facilities. In view of the gravity of the situation, and believing that radio has a responsibility to serve in the public interest at all times, we are turning over our facilities to the state militia at Trenton.
We take you now to the field headquarters of the state militia near Grover's Mill, New Jersey.
This is Captain Lansing of the Signal Corps, attached to the state militia, now engaged in military operations in the vicinity of Grover's Mill. Situation arising from the reported presence of certain individuals of unidentified nature is now under complete control. The cylindrical object, which lies in a pit directly below our position, surrounded on all sides by 8 battalions of infantry, without heavy field pieces, but adequately armed with rifles and machine guns. All cause for alarm, if such cause ever existed, is now entirely unjustified. Things, whatever they are, do not even venture to poke their heads above the pit. I can see their hiding place plainly in the glare of the searchlights here. With all their reported resources, these creatures can scarcely stand up against heavy machine gun fire. Anyway, it's an interesting outing for the troops. I can make out their khaki uniforms crossing back and forth in front of the lights. Looks almost like a real war. There appears to be some slight smoke in the woods bordering the Millstone River, probably fire started by campers. Well, we ought to see some action soon. One of the companies is deploying on the left flank. A quick thrust and it'll all be over. Now, wait a minute. I see something on top of the cylinder. No, it's nothing but a shadow. Now the troops are on the edge of the Wilmot Farm. 7,000 armed men closing in on an old metal tube. A tub, rather. Well, wait, that wasn't a shadow. It's something moving. Solid metal, kind of a shield-like affair rising up out of the cylinder. It's going higher and higher. What? It's standing on legs. Actually rearing up on a sort of metal framework. Now it's reaching above the trees and the searchlights are on it. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a grave announcement to make. Incredible as it may seem, both the observations of science and the evidence of our eyes lead to the inescapable assumption that those strange beings who landed in the Jersey farmlands tonight are the vanguard of an invading army from the planet Mars. The battle which took place tonight at Grover Mills has ended in one of the most startling defeats ever suffered by an army in modern times. 7,000 men armed with rifles and machine guns pitted against the single fighting machine of the invaders from Mars. 120 known survivors. The rest strewn over the battle area from Grover's Mill to Plainsboro, crushed and trampled to death under the metal feet of the monster, or burned to cinders by its heat ray. The monster is now in control of the middle section of New Jersey and has effectively cut the state through its center. Communication lines are down from Pennsylvania to the Atlantic Ocean. Railroad tracks are torn and service from New York to Philadelphia discontinued, except routing some of the trains through Allerton and Phoenixville. Highways to the north, south, and west are clogged with frantic human traffic. Police and army reserves are unable to control the mad flight. By morning, the fugitives will have swelled Philadelphia, Camden, and Trenton, it is estimated, to twice their normal population. Martial law prevails throughout New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania. At this time, we take you to Washington for a special broadcast on the national emergency. The Secretary of the Interior.
Fortunately, this formidable enemy is still confined to a comparatively small area. And we may place our faith in the military forces to keep them there. In the meantime, placing our faith in God, we must continue the performance of our duties, each and every one of us, so that we may confront this destructive adversary with a nation united, courageous, and consecrated to the preservation of human supremacy on this earth. I thank you.
You have just heard the Secretary of the Interior speaking from Washington. Bulletins too numerous to read are piling up in the studio here. We're informed that the central portion of New Jersey is blacked out from radio communication due to the effect of the heat ray upon power lines and electrical equipment. Here's a special bulletin in New York. Cables have been received from English, French, and German scientific bodies offering assistance. Astronomers report continued gas outbursts at regular intervals on the planet Mars. The majority voiced the opinion that the enemy will be reinforced by additional rocket machines. There have been several attempts made to locate Professor Pearson of Princeton, who has observed Martians at close range. It is feared he was lost in the recent battle. Langham Field, Virginia. Scouting planes report 3 Martian machines visible above treetops, moving north toward Somerville with population fleeing ahead of them. The heat ray is not in use, although advancing at express train speed, invaders pick their way carefully. They seem to be making a conscious effort to avoid destruction of cities and countryside. However, they stop to uproot power lines, bridges, and railroad tracks. Their apparent objective is to crush resistance, paralyze communication, and disorganize human society. Here is a bulletin from Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Coon hunters have stumbled on a second cylinder similar to the first, embedded in the Great Swamp 20 miles south of Morristown. Army field pieces are proceeding from Newark to blow up the second invading unit before the cylinder can be opened and the fighting machine rigged. They're taking up a position in the foothills of Watchung Mountain. Another bulletin from Langham Field, Virginia. Scouting planes report enemy machines, now 3 in number, increasing speed northward, kicking over houses and trees in their evident haste to form a conjunction with their allies south of Morristown. Machines also sighted by telephone operator east of Middlesex, within 10 miles of Plainfield. Here's a bulletin from Winston Field, Long Island. A fleet of Army bombers carrying heavy explosives flying north in pursuit of enemy. Scouting planes act as guides. They keep the speeding enemy in sight. Just a moment, please, ladies and gentlemen. We've run special wires to the artillery line in adjacent villages to give you direct reports in the zone of the advancing enemy. First, we take you to the battery of the 22nd Field Artillery, located in the Watchung Mountains.
Range 32 meters.
32 meters.
Projection 39 degrees.
39 degrees.
Fire.
140 yards to the right, sir.
Shift range 31 meters.
31 meters.
Projection 37 degrees.
37 degrees.
Fire.
Hit, sir. Got the tripod of one of them. They're stopped. The others are trying to repair it.
Quick, get the range. Shift 30 meters.
30 meters.
Projection 27 degrees.
27 degrees.
Fire.
Can't see the shell land, sir. Letting off a smoke.
What is it?
Black smoke, sir. Moving this way. Lying close to the ground. Moving fast.
Put on gas mask. Get ready to fire. Shift to 24 meters.
24 meters.
Projection 24 degrees.
24 degrees.
Fire.
Still can't see, sir. Smoke's coming nearer.
Get the range.
23 meters.
23 meters.
23 meters. 22 degrees. 22 degrees.
Army bombing plane B-843 off Bayonne, New Jersey. Lieutenant Vogt, commanding 8 bombers, reporting to Commander Fairfax, Langham Field. This is Vogt reporting to Commander Fairfax, Langham Field. Enemy tripod machines now in sight. Reinforced by 3 machines from the Morristown cylinder. 6 altogether. 1 machine partially crippled. Believed hit by shell from Army gun in Watchung Mountains. Guns now appear silent. A heavy black fog hanging close to the earth of extreme density, nature unknown. No sign of heat ray. Enemy now turns east, crossing Passaic River into the Jersey marshes. Another straddles the Pulaski Skyway. Evident objective is New York City. They're pushing down a high-tension power station. Machines are close together now, and we're ready to attack. Planes circling, ready to strike. A 1,000 yards, and we'll be over the first. $800 yards. $600. $400. $200. There they go. The giant arm raised. Green flash. They're spraying us with flame. 2,000 feet. Engines are giving out. No chance to release bombs. Only one thing left. Drop on them, plane and all. We're diving on the first one. Now the engine's gone. 8.
This is Bayonne, New Jersey, calling Langham Field. This is Bayonne, New Jersey, calling Langham Field. Come in, please.
Langham Field. Go ahead.
8 Army bombers in engagement with enemy tripod machines over Jersey Flats. Engines incapacitated by heat ray. All crashed. 1 enemy machine destroyed. Enemy now discharging heavy black smoke in direction of...
This is Newark, New Jersey. This is Newark, New Jersey. Warning. Poisonous black smoke pouring in from Jersey marshes. Reaches South Street. Gas masks useless. Urge population to move into open spaces. Automobiles use routes 7, 23, 24. Avoid congested areas. Smoke now spreading over Raymond Boulevard. 2X2L, calling CQ, 2X2L, calling CQ, 2X2L, calling 8X3R. Come in, please.
This is 8X3R coming back at 2X2L.
How's reception? How's reception? K, please. Where are you, 8X3R? What's the matter? Where are you?
I'm speaking from the roof of Broadcasting Building. I'm speaking from the roof of Broadcasting Building, New York City. The bells you hear are ringing to warn the people to evacuate the city as Martians approach. Estimated in the last 2 hours, 3 million people have moved out along the roads to the north. Hutchison River Parkway is still kept open for motor traffic. Avoid bridges to Long Island, hopelessly jammed. All communication with Jersey Shore closed 10 minutes ago. No more defenses. Our army is wiped out. Artillery, Air Force, everything wiped out. This may be the last broadcast. We'll stay here to the end. People are holding service here below us in the cathedral. Now I look down the harbor, all manner of boats, overloaded with fleeing population pulling out from docks. Streets are all jammed. Noise in crowds like New Year's Eve in city. Wait a minute. The enemy's now in sight above the Palisades. Five great machines. First one is crossing the river. I can see it from here, wading the Hudson like a man wading through a brook. A bulletin is handed me. Martian cylinders are falling all over the country. One outside of Buffalo, one in Chicago, St. Louis. Seem to be timed and spaced. Now the first machine reaches the shore. He stands watching, looking over the city. Steel cowlish head is even with the skyscrapers. He waits for the others. They rise like a line of new towers on the city's west side. Now they're lifting their metal hands. This is the end now. Smoke comes out, black smoke drifting over the city. People in the streets see it now. They're running toward the East River, thousands of them, dropping in like rats. Now the smoke's spreading faster. It's reached Times Square. People are trying to run away from it, but it's no use. They're falling like flies. Now the smoke's crossing 6th Avenue. 5th Avenue. 100 yards away. It's 50 feet.
Calling CQ. 2X2L calling CQ. 2X2L calling CQ, New York. Isn't there anyone on the air? Isn't there anyone on the air? Isn't there anyone? 2X2L.
You are listening to a CBS presentation of Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the Air in an original dramatization of The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. The performance will continue after a brief intermission. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, starring Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the Air.
As I set down these notes on paper, I'm obsessed by the thought that I may be the last living man on Earth. I've been hiding in this empty house near Grover's Mill, a small island of daylight cut off by the black smoke from the rest of the world. All that happened before the arrival of these monstrous creatures in the world now seems part of another life. A life that has no continuity with the present. Furtive existence of the lonely derelict who pencils these words on the back of some astronomical notes bearing the signature of Richard Pearson. I look down at my blackened hand and I try to connect them with a professor who lives at Princeton and who, on the night of October 20th, glimpsed through his telescope an orange splash of light on a distant planet. My wife, my colleagues, my students, my books, my observatory, my world. Where are they? Did they ever exist? Am I Richard Pearson? What day is it? Do days exist without calendars? Does time pass when there are no human hands left to wind the clocks? Writing down my daily life, I tell myself I shall preserve human history between the dark covers of this little book that was meant to record the movements of the stars. But to write, I must live, and to live, I must eat. Find moldy bread in the kitchen and an orange not too spoiled to swallow. Keep watch at the window. Time to time, I catch sight of a Martian above the black smoke. Smoke still holds the house in its black coil, but at length there's a hissing sound, and suddenly I see a Martian mounted on his machine, spraying the air with a jet of steam as if to dissipate the smoke. I watch in a corner as his huge metal legs nearly brush against the house. Exhausted by terror, I fall asleep. Morning. Morning. Sun streams in the window. Black cloud of gas is lifted, and the scorched meadows to the north look as though a black snowstorm had passed over them. I venture from the house. I make my way to a road, no traffic. Here and there, a wrecked car, baggage overturned, a blackened skeleton. Push on north. For some reason, I feel safer trailing these monsters than running away from them. And I keep a careful watch. I've seen the Martians feed. Should one of their machines appear over the top of trees, I'm ready to fling myself flat on the earth. Come to a chestnut tree. Chestnuts are ripe. Fill my pockets. Just keep alive. 2 days I wander in a vague northerly direction through a desolate world. Finally, I notice a living creature. A small red squirrel in a beech tree. I stare at him and wonder. He stares back at me. I believe at that moment the animal and I shared the same emotion. The joy of finding another living being. Push on north. I find dead cows in a brackish field, and beyond the charred ruins of a dairy and a silo, remain standing guard over the wasteland like a lighthouse, deserted by the sea. Astride the silo perches a weathercock. The arrow points north. North. Next day, I come to a city. City vaguely familiar in its contours, yet its buildings strangely dwarfed and leveled off as if a giant had sliced off its highest towers with a capricious sweep of his hand. Reached the outskirts, I found Newark. Newark, undemolished but humbled by some whim of the advancing Martians. Presently, with an odd feeling of being watched, I caught sight of something crouching in a doorway. I made a step towards it. Rose up and became a man. A man armed with a large knife.
Stop. Where do you come from?
I come from many places. A long time ago from Princeton.
Princeton, huh? That's near Grover's Mill.
Yes.
Grover's Mill. There's no food here. This is my country. All this end of town down the river. There's only food for one. Which way are you going?
I don't know. I guess I'm looking for people.
Hey, what was that? You hear something just then?
No. Only a bird. A live bird.
You get to know that birds have shadows these days. Say, we're in the open here. Let's crawl in this doorway here and talk.
Have you seen any Martians?
No. They're going over to New York. Night, the sky's alive with their lights, just as if people were still living in it. By daylight, you can't see them. 5 days ago, a couple of them carried something big across the flats from the airport. I think they're learning how to fly.
Fly?
Yeah, fly.
Then it's all over with humanity. Stranger, there's still you and I. 2 of us left.
They got themselves in solid. They wrecked the greatest country in the world. Those green stars, they're probably falling somewhere every night. They've only lost one machine. There isn't anything to do. We're done. We're licked.
Where were you? You're in a uniform.
Yeah, what's left of it. I was in the militia. National Guard. That's good. There wasn't any war. Any more than there's war between men and ants.
Yes, but we're eatable ants. I found that out. What'll they do to us?
I filled it all out. Right now, we're caught as we're wanted. The Martian only has to go a few miles to get a crowd on the run. But they won't keep on doing that. They'll begin catching us systematic, like keeping the best and storing us in cages and things. They haven't begun on us yet.
Not begun?
Not begun. All that's happened so far is because we don't have sense enough to keep quiet. Bothering them with guns and such stuff and losing our heads and rushing off in crowds. No. Instead of our rushing around blind, we got to fix ourselves up. Fix ourselves up according to the way things are now. Cities, nations, civilization, progress.
Yes, but if that's so, what is there to live for?
Well, there won't be any more concerts for 1,000,000 years or so, and no nice little dinners at restaurants. If it's amusement you're after, I guess the game's up.
What is there left?
Life, that's what. I want to live. Yeah, and so do you. We're not going to be exterminated. And I don't mean to be caught either. Tamed and fattened and bred like an ox.
What are you going to do?
I'm going on. Right under their feet. I got a plan. We men as men, we're finished. We don't know enough. We got to learn plenty before we got a chance. We've got to live and keep free what we learn, see? I've thought it all out, see?
Well, tell me the rest.
Well, it isn't all of us that are made for wild beasts. That's what it got to. That's what it got to be. That's why I watched you. Watched you. All those little office workers that used to live in these houses. They be no good. They haven't any stuff in them. Run off to work. I've seen hundreds of them running to catch their commuter's train in the morning, afraid they'd get canned if they didn't. Running back at night, afraid they wouldn't be in time for dinner. Lives insured and a little invested in case of accident. Yeah, and on Sundays, worried about the hereafter. The Martians, they'll be a godsend for those guys. Nice roomy cages, good food, careful breeding, no worries. Yeah, after a week or so of chasing around the fields on empty stomachs, they'll come and be glad to be caught.
You've thought it all out, haven't you?
Sure, you bet I have. That isn't all. These Martians are going to make pets of them. Train them to do tricks. Who knows, get sentimental over the pet boy who grew up and had to be killed. Yeah, and some maybe, they'll train to hunt us.
Oh, no, impossible.
Yes, they will. There's men who do it gladly. Me, by...
Meantime, you and I and others like us. Where are we to live when the Martians own the Earth?
I got it all figured out. We'll live underground. I've been thinking about the sewers. Under New York, there are miles and miles of them. The main ones, they're big enough for anybody. And there's cellars, vaults, underground storerooms, railway tunnels, subways. You begin to see, huh? We'll get a bunch of strong men together. No weakness. That rubbish, out.
As you meant me to go.
All right. Give you a chance, didn't I?
Won't quarrel about that. Go on.
We got to make safe places for us to stay in, see? Get all the books we can. Science books,
That's where men like you come in, see? We raid the museums. We'll even spy on the Martians. May not be so much we have to learn before... Just imagine this. 4 or 5 of their own fighting machines suddenly start off. Heat rays right and left. Not a Martian in them. Not a Martian in them, see? But men. Men who've learned the way how. May even be in our time. Gee. Imagine having one of them lovely things with a heat ray wide and free. We'd turn it on Martians. We'd turn it on men. We'd bring everybody down on their knees.
That's your plan.
You. Me. More. We'd own the world.
I see.
Hey. Hey, what's the matter? Where are you going?
Not to your world. Bye, stranger. Well, after parting with the artilleryman, I came at last to the Holland Tunnel, entered that silent tube. Anxious to know the fate of the great city on the other side of the Hudson. Cautiously, I came out of the tunnel and made my way up Canal Street. Reached 14th Street, and there again were black powder and several bodies and an evil, ominous smell from the gratings of the cellars of some of the houses. I wandered up through the 30s and 40s, stood alone on Times Square, caught sight of a lean dog running down 7th Avenue with a piece of dark brown meat in his jaws and a pack of starving mongrels at his heels. Made a wide circle around me as though he feared I might prove a fresh competitor. Walked up Broadway in the direction of that strange powder, past silent shop windows, displaying their mute wares to empty sidewalks. Past the Capitol Theater, silent, dark. Past a shooting gallery where a row of empty guns faced an arrested line of wooden ducks. Near Columbus Circle, I noticed models of 1939 motor cars in the showrooms facing empty streets. Over the top of the General Motors building, I watched a flock of black birds circling in the sky. Hurried on. Suddenly, I caught sight of the hood of a Martian machine, standing somewhere in Central Park, gleaming in the late afternoon sun. An insane idea. I rushed recklessly across Columbus Circle and into the park. I climbed a small hill above the pond at 60th Street, and from there I could see standing in a silent row along the mall 19 of those great metal titans, their cowls empty, their steel arms hanging listlessly by their sides. I looked in vain for the monsters that inhabit those machines. Suddenly, my eyes were attracted to the immense flock of black birds that hovered directly below me. They circled to the ground. And there before my eyes, stark and silent, lay the Martians with the hungry birds pecking and tearing brown shreds of flesh from their dead bodies. Later, when their bodies were examined in laboratories, it was found that they were killed by the putrefactive and disease bacteria against which their systems were unprepared. Slain, after all, man's defenses had failed by the humblest thing that God, His wisdom, has put upon this earth. Before the cylinder fell, there was a general persuasion that through all the deep of space, no life existed beyond the petty surface of our minute sphere. Now we see further. Dim and wonderful is the vision I've conjured up in my mind of life spreading slowly from this little seedbed of the solar system throughout the inanimate vastnesses of sidereal space. But a remote dream, maybe. Maybe that the destruction of the Martians is only a reprieve to them and not to us. The future ordained, perhaps. Strange it now seems to sit in my peaceful study at Princeton, writing down this last chapter of the record, begun at a deserted farm in Grover's Mill. Strange to watch children playing in the streets. Strange to see young people strolling on the green where the new spring grass heals the last black scars of a bruised earth. Strange to watch the sightseers enter the museum where the dissembled parts of a Martian machine are kept on public view. Strange when I recall the time when I first saw it. Bright, clean cut, hard, and silent. under the dawn of that last great day.
This is Orson Welles, ladies and gentlemen. Out of character, to assure you that the War of the Worlds has no further significance than as the holiday offering it was intended to be. The Mercury Theater's own radio version of dressing up in a sheet and jumping out of a bush and saying boo. Starting now, we couldn't soap all your windows and seal all your garden gates. By tomorrow night, so we did the best next thing. We annihilated the world before your very ears and utterly destroyed the CBS. You will be relieved, I hope, to learn that we didn't mean it, and that both institutions are still open for business. So goodbye, everybody, and remember, please, for the next day or so, the terrible lesson you learned tonight. That grinning, glowing, globular invader of your living room is an inhabitant of the pumpkin patch, and if your doorbell rings and nobody's there, that was no Martian. It's Halloween.
Tonight, the Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations coast to coast has brought you The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, the 17th in its weekly series of dramatic broadcasts featuring Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the air.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, the time, 150 years from now. The place, a luxury spaceship en route to Venus. The story, Venus is a Man's World, by William Tenn.
Some fellows are lucky. They have brothers, but not me. I have nothing but sisters. 2 of them, Carrie and Evelyn. Sometimes Carrie isn't too bad, for a girl, I mean. But Evelyn, boy, she's hopeless. It was Evelyn's idea to put me on that spaceship, jam-packed with 300 females, and all of them aching to get themselves husbands. In the one place that's still to be had, the planet Venus. Well, anyway, 20 minutes after we took off from the spaceport, I was bored stiff.
Ferdinand, do stop fidgeting and sit down.
I don't have anything to do.
Well, I'll read to you and Carrie. Would you like that?
No. I want to do something.
What's the name of the book, sis? Well, it's titled Family Problems of the Frontier Woman. Doesn't it sound intriguing?
Peachy keen.
That's enough out of you, young man. Why don't you take a walk around the ship?
Can I go with Ferdinand, sis?
Well, wouldn't you rather we start the book?
You should, Carrie. Every girl should read about the family problems of the frontier woman.
Keep quiet, you boy.
Oh, children, let's have enough of that. Now, go ahead, run along, you two. And Carrie, look after Ferdinand. See that he keeps out of mischief.
Gee, this is one big ship, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
I sort of wish we were on a cargo ship instead of this liner.
Why? This is super.
On a cargo ship, we could go climbing from deck to deck on a ladder. We could even go to the bridge or the forecastle and talk with the crew.
That's silly. Why would anyone want to do that?
Because ship's crews are men.
Only because we women are too busy with important things like government to run ships.
Says you. Hey, what are you looking at?
This sign. In the event of disaster affecting the oxygen content of the companionway, break glass with hammer upon wall. Remove spacesuit and proceed to don it.
Boy, I hope we have that kind of a disaster. I sure would like to get into one of those.
Oh, you're silly.
Hey, let's go exploring down this way. I see some portholes.
And I see a sign that says, notice, passengers are not permitted past this point.
Come on, there's no one around. And besides, I'm not really a passenger.
Ferdinand, you say you're not really a passenger. Well, what do you mean?
You have to be a citizen of a planet in order to get a passport, right?
I'm not sure.
Well, I'm telling you. Ever since they passed that Melody Suffrage Act, only women can be Earth citizens. You and Evelyn are passengers, all right. But me, I'm just a male dependent. So when a sign says, off limits for passengers, doesn't mean me. I'm not a passenger, see?
Keep away from that door, Ferdinand. Can't you see the sign?
You and your old signs.
Ferdinand, let's go back to the cabin.
I want to see what's behind this door.
If you don't come back with me this very minute, I'll tell Evelyn.
So what? Hey, this looks like a sonic clock. I wonder if it works by knock or voice.
Ferdinand, I'm going.
Say, I remember one voice key. I wonder if it'll work. 2023, open sesame.
Ferdinand!
Out of all the million possible combinations, I hit it just right. The door clicked open into a dimly lit hole. As the door closed, a hand closed around my throat. The lights came on, and I found myself staring up the muzzle of a highly polished blaster, held by the biggest man I'd ever seen. We just stood there looking at each other for a while, till finally he said...
Why, you're only a tadpole.
Sir?
The little tadpole. I must be getting jumpy enough to splash.
My name is Ferdinand Sparling. I'm very pleased to meet you, Mr.
I hope for your sake you aren't a tadpole brother to one of them husbandless Anura.
Husbandless what?
Anura, herd of females looking a nest. I come from Flatway folks.
You're a Venusian?
Yep. What part of Earth are you from? And what are you doing on a spaceship to Venus?
You know, the 3 out of 4.
Yeah, how's that?
The 3 out of 4. No more than 3 women out of every 4 on Earth can expect to find husbands. Not enough men to go around, with the Third Atomic War and all. Why, back in the 20th century, some of our best men went to the planets. My sister Evelyn says that by now, most of the men on Earth aren't even worth marrying.
That's for sure. Those busybody Anura took care of that. Earth, what a place. I had a belly full.
Why did you come in the first place?
I came looking for a wife. Women are pretty scarce on Venus. I heard that there was a surplus of them on Earth.
I can't understand why any man would even want to marry a woman.
How old are you, Tadpole?
13, almost 14.
Well, that explains a lot of things, Tadpole.
It doesn't explain why you're heading back to Venus.
Because I was in trouble the minute I landed on that woman's world. I didn't know I had to register at a government-operated hotel for transient males. Imagine, they told me a man couldn't say anything in court. All talking was done by female attorneys to a female judge. But I told him off. I told him where I come from, a man spoke his piece when he had a mind to, and his woman walked by his side.
Well, what happened?
Oh, I was found guilty of this and contempt of that. But I wasn't going to serve all those fancy little prison sentences, so I broke out and stowed away.
You mean that you're breaking the law right now?
Sure, aren't you?
Oh, I guess so. I'm also a man outside the law. We're in this together.
Shake, Ferdinand. Ferdinand? That's not a right label for a sprouting tadpole. I'll call you Ford. My name's Butt. Butt Lee Brown.
Is Butt a nickname like Ford?
Yeah, short for Alberta. But I haven't found a man who can draw a blaster fast enough to call me that. You see, Pop came over in the 80s with the first wave of immigrants from Ontario. Named all of us boys after Canadian provinces. I was the youngest, so I got the name they were saving for a girl.
Golly, Mr. Butt, you must have had a lot of brothers.
Yeah, full nest. They're Sass. His real name is Saskatchewan. Manny after Manitoba. And Uke, he was named for Yukon. I got one for every province and territory in Canada.
Golly, all I have is 2 sisters.
Oh? Tell me about them.
Well, there's Carrie. She's almost 16.
Well, how about your other sister? She a little older?
She's old, all right. Evelyn's almost 21.
She pretty?
Who?
Your sister Evelyn.
Oh, I don't know. She's healthy. She's got very good teeth.
If I know her breed, she's bossy and opinionated.
Well, aren't all women?
Oh, there goes the dinner gong, Ford. You better scat. Growing tadpoles need their vitamins.
Could I bring you some chow? I could stuff it in my pocket and sneak it back here.
No, thanks. I've stashed away enough provisions. I got plenty of kelp and Venusian mud grapes to last the trip. Oh, you better shove off, Ford, or they'll start looking for you.
Guess I had better. Well, I'll see you right after dinner, Mr. Butt.
Just plain butt to you, Ford.
Oh, okay. I'll be seeing you. 2023. Open sesame.
Ferdinand, please be seated. I want to talk with you.
Now? They just rang the dinner gong.
I am aware of that. Now, where have you been?
Around.
I demand a straight answer. Where have you been, Ferdinand?
I told you, sis, around. And don't call me Ferdinand. Call me Ford. That's what Bud calls me.
Bud? Who is Bud?
Oh, nobody. I just made it up.
Ferdinand?
I can't tell you. I can't.
You must.
Well, you promise you won't turn him in. Well, Bud's my friend. He's a Venusian. He's going home.
Aboard our ship, the Eleanor Roosevelt? Ferdinand, don't you realize you've been consorting with a stowaway, a criminal? What sort of antisocial ideas has this warmongering masculinist been putting into your head?
Bud's a nice guy. He asked about you.
Oh, indeed.
I told him you had very good teeth.
Really? Well, take me to this man.
I will if you promise not to turn him in.
No, I promise.
He's in there. The door has a sonic lock. I know the combination. Watch. 2023. Open sesame.
Oh, it's so dark in there.
But, hey, Bud, I brought along my sister Evelyn. She'd like to meet you. It's all right. Put on the lights.
Oh.
An honor, Miss Sparling. Please come right in.
First, Mr. Bott, I want...
Brown. Butley Brown.
First, Mr. Brown, you realize that you are committing two crimes. One, the political crime of traveling without a visa, and two, the criminal act of stowing away without paying your fare.
Golly, Sis, that's no way to talk to Bud.
I take it you either have no defense or care to make none.
I wonder if all the Anura talk like that. And you want to foul up Venus.
We haven't done so badly on Earth after the mess you men made of politics.
Hear, hear.
Yeah, hear, hear.
Oh, you keep quiet, Ferdinand. And another point, Mr. Butley Brown. I don't suppose you know that under space regulations, you've made this poor child an accessory.
But didn't make me anything.
Let's not talk law, female. Let's talk sense. I'm in trouble because I went to Earth to look for a wife. You're standing right here now because you're on your way to Venus for a husband. So, let's.
Let's? Let's what? Are you daring to suggest
now,
that...
Miss Sparling, no hoopla. I'm saying let's get married, and you know it.
Gee, Sis, say yes.
And what makes you think that I consider you a desirable husband?
Figure it this way. If you wanted a poodle, you're pretty enough to pick one up on Earth. When you go charging off to Venus, you don't want a poodle, you want a man, and I'm one. I own 3 islands in the Galertan Archipelago. Good farmland when they're cleared. I got no bad habits, outside of having my own way. I'm passable good-looking. My teeth are good, too. Besides, if you marry me, you'll be the first mated on this ship, and that's a splash most nesting females like to make.
You know, there's more to marriage than just doing...
So there is. Well, we can try each other for taste. Now, me, I'd vote yes.
Me too, I'd vote yes.
Now I'll cast my vote.
Well, you guessed it. She broke her promise. I suppose the kiss did it. She put it a stowaway to the captain, and he sent a detail from the ship's crew to haul Bud off to the brig. Well, later that afternoon, all the passengers, 300 females and me, gathered in the lounge for the hearing. It's all on account of you.
Shush.
Don't shush me. You promised you wouldn't get Bud into trouble. Oh, you snitch.
Shush. The captain is rapping for quiet.
By authority vested in me under the Pomona College Treaty, the stowaway, a Venusian, Butley Brown, will be tried for violation of Articles 16 to 21 inclusive of the Space Transport Code. Purser, bring in the prisoner.
Ladies! Those cheap extroverts, and they call themselves responsible.
Ladies! Dear ladies! Thank you, ladies. Butley Brown, I order your person and belongings impounded for the duration of this voyage as set forth in sections 41 and 45.
Captain, the sections are 43 and 45.
You're quite right, Miss Sparling. Sections 43 and 45 of the Mother Anita Law Emergency Interplanetary Directives.
Aren't you even going to give me a fair trial before you hang me?
Talk to me!
Ladies, I beg of you, ladies.
Captain, what exactly are the charges against me?
You're a stowaway.
I can pay for my passage.
You can? Well, then I guess we can dismiss the charges. Ladies, gentle ladies.
Just a moment, Captain.
Yes, Miss Sparling?
I demand justice. You can't let him off that lightly. Besides, there's the other charge.
What other charge?
Assault. That comes under sections 18 through 35 of the MacDonald Law.
It does? Well, then would you tell the court in your own words exactly what happened?
Well, when I first laid eyes on Mr. Brown, he seemed to be a fundamentally decent chap, despite his barbaric notions on equality between the sexes, or worse. I was positive I could shame him into a more rational social behavior and make him give himself up.
Go on, Miss Sparling.
Just as I was getting over the colossal impudence involved in his proposing marriage and was considering the offer seriously, on its merits, as one should consider all suggestions, he deliberately dropped the pretense of reason.
Get her.
Ferdinand!
My name is Ford, and you're nothing but a big snitch. You promised not to get Butt into trouble.
Well, how do you like that, boy?
Your name is Ferdinand, and stop trying to act forcefully like a girl. It doesn't become you.
Miss Sparling, did I understand you to say that you were considering Mr. Brown's proposal of marriage?
That is true. I will not deny that he appealed to me. He appealed to me as most savage ancients appeal to their women, as an emotional machine. Throw the proper switches, says his theory, and the female surrenders herself ecstatically to the doubtful and bloody murk of masculine plans.
I'm afraid I still don't understand. What exactly did Mr. Brown do?
He kissed me.
Ladies, please, ladies. Mr. Brown, do you deny kissing Miss Sparling?
No. Miss Sparling, do you deny enjoying the kiss?
Your question is irrelevant and immaterial.
Oh, she enjoyed it.
How would you know?
Well, I was right there. I could tell the way she acted. She sort of held the back of his neck, closed her eyes, and just hung on.
What were you doing there?
I introduced him. I met Bud first. Then I took Sis over there to meet him.
I see. Ferdinand Sparling, I hereby order your detention for the duration of this voyage for aiding and abetting a stowaway as set forth in sections 41
43
and 43
and 45.
and 45.
And you can't arrest Ferdinand. He's only a child. You gave me your word no charges would be lodged against the boy.
That was the usual promise one makes to an informer. But I made it before I knew it was Butley Brown you were talking about. I didn't want to arrest Butley Brown. You forced me. So I'm breaking my promise to you, just as I understand you broke your promise to your brother. I'm afraid both Ferdinand and Butley Brown will be picked up at New Kalamazoo Spaceport and sent terrorward for trial.
But I used all our money to buy passage.
I'm sorry. You'll have to return with your brother. Of course, there is a way out.
There is? Well, tell me, please.
Miss Sparling, if you'd marry Brown... Now, don't look at me like that. If you'd marry Brown, he would go on your passport as a dependent male member of your family.
Do you think I'd marry that desperado? Why, he doesn't know enough to sit back and let a woman run things. Captain, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I'll marry him!
Perhaps I should be, but that's what comes of putting men in responsible positions. See here, Miss Sparling, I didn't want to arrest Brown. I'd still prefer not to. The officers and crew of my ship all go along with me.
Why not? Men always think like men. They never use logic. They just rely on masculine intuition.
Maybe so. This ship's crew are all residents of Earth. But our work requires us to be on Venus several times a year. We wouldn't want to cross any member of the Brown clan. They're all men of influence on the polar continent.
No, I wouldn't doubt that for a second. If anyone gets in their way, they merely oxidize them with a blaster.
Take Butt. He's a big man in his own bailiwick, the Galertan Archipelago. When he wants to put somebody in office, well, He just appoints them.
Mr. Brown has that much influence, you say?
Power, actually. The kind a strong man usually wields in a newly settled community.
Oh, Mr. Brown, if I marry you, would you promise to see that I'm appointed resident governor of the Galerton Archipelago?
No.
Attaboy, Bart. Don't give in.
Ferdinand, this does not concern you. Mr. Brown, I might even consider a county clerkship.
Nope.
Stick by your blasters, Bud. Show me you're a real man.
Mr. Brown, it would seem to me that if you really want to marry this attractive young lady, a compromise could be worked out.
Well, I could make her sheriff.
Oh, no.
Would the position of sheriff of the Galerton Archipelago be acceptable, Miss Sparling?
Yes.
Good. I'll marry you here and now.
I want to be a bridesmaid. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. That's me every time.
But you shouldn't have sold out. Why did you do it? You don't have to marry her for my sake. I wouldn't care what they did to me.
That's all right, Tadpole. I'd do anything for my favorite brother-in-law.
I'd sure like to be your brother-in-law. But gosh, you don't have to marry Sis. You could have had any one of these 300 females. Why marry Sis?
I'm stubborn. What I like at first, I keep on liking. What I want at first, I keep on wanting until I get it.
Yeah, but making her sheriff, what's going to happen to our man's world?
Don't worry none about that, Ford, my boy. Wait till after we meet and go out to my islands. She'll find herself sheriff over exactly 2 Earth males, you and me. And I got a hunch that'll keep her pretty busy, huh? How about that,
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features An Eye for a What? A story of the Earthmen who thought they couldn't hurt a friendly alien if their lives depended on it, while all the time their lives did depend on it. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Venus is a Man's World, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by William Tenn and adapted for radio by Arthur Small. Featured in our cast were Dennis Belabio as Ford, Bob Haig as Butt, Jerry Ann Raphael as Carrie, John Gibson as the captain, and Frederica Chandler as Evelyn. This is Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Next week, X-1 presents Trap by Finn O'Donovan. Fur hunters tangle with a bottle of firewater and a new kind of trap which catches more than they bargain for. We hope you'll be listening next week at this same time. This week, the Boy Scouts are celebrating their 47th year of service to American youth. Throughout the country, there will be open houses, courts of honor, indoor and outdoor campfires, cub circuses, scout expositions, explorer events, and other special activities. This is the second year of the 4-year program, Onward for God and My Country, which was launched to help prepare America's boys to live in today's world and prepare them to carry their full share in the years ahead. It's designed to give youth an opportunity to develop physical fitness, self-reliance, a sense of personal responsibility, a spirit of helping people, a willingness to share, an understanding of our government's democratic processes, and a firm spiritual foundation. On Sunday, February 10th, churches of all faiths will observe Boy Scout Sunday, with scouts attending services in uniform.
Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Wellston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy are climbing the face of a steep cliff on the planet Saturn in pursuit of 2 criminals. At one side of them, a great waterfall thunders down 1,000 feet to the valley below.
Colgar must have reached the top, Commander. I don't see him. They went up the cliff like a couple of mountain goats, and with hardly any footholds. Look out, Happy, there's a rock falling. Huh? Wow, smoke and rockets, that was close. There are more coming. Press close to the cliff. Hey, it looks like the whole top of the mountain is coming down on us. Holgar's work. He's going to the landslide. It's right on top of us. What are we going to do?
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol story, The Giant Bubble. You can't buy it anywhere, gang. Today is positively the last time we can make this sensational offer. I'm speaking of the Space Patrol Spaceophone. The magic phone you can carry anywhere. The magic phone from mysterious outer space. The magic phone created in the secret laboratories of the Space Patrol. The Space Patrol Spaceophone. Imagine, you can talk on it to someone a straight 50 feet away. Complete with 2 blue and yellow plastic spaceophones. Complete with 50 feet of communication cord. Complete with secret briefing sheet. But remember now, today is absolutely the last time we can make this unusual offer. The Space Patrol Spaceophone. To get the whole set, here's what you do. Buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in continental U.S. and may be withdrawn at any time. That's an Instant Ralston box top and 25 cents in coin to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. In Commander Corey's central office at Space Patrol headquarters on Terra, Cadet Happy is puzzling over some reports from the security section as Buzz enters.
Oh, can't make head or tails of this thing.
Happy, has Dr. Berman been in?
Huh? Oh, beg your pardon, sir. What'd you say?
Have you seen Dr. Berman? He was to meet me here.
Oh, no, sir. He hasn't been in. Did the appropriation go through?
Yes, Happy. Just got the Secretary General's approval. That ought to make Dr. Berman just about the happiest man in the solar system.
Yes, sir.
Which, judging by your expression, is more than can be said for you. What's the trouble, huh?
Well, Major Robertson asked me if I'd check over these reports of intercepted messages, and I haven't been able to make much headway.
There's unidentified spacephone signals from Saturn.
Uh-huh. All I can figure out is that the broadcasts seem to follow a time pattern, and they're in perfectly plain English, but, well, they just don't make sense.
I know.
One word keeps popping up in several of the messages. That is, if it is a word, Gleck. Now, what in the universe is Gleck?
No one else around here seems to know either.
Well, all I can gather is that whoever is sending the messages doesn't like Gleck. And one message says, suggest getting rid of Gleck at source.
Well, forget about it. Turn the folder back to Robbie.
Yes, sir.
Commander Corey? Oh, yes, Dr. Berman. Come in. Thank you. Happy, this is Dr. Berman, the inventor of a new process of constructing atmosphere shells.
Oh, I've heard about it. Yeah, it's something to do with blowing a big bubble out in space, isn't it?
That's right, young man. A bubble of transparent electroplast. Dr. Berman's method might entirely do away with the old cumbersome method of constructing atmosphere shells section by section and sealing them together.
With electroplast, sir?
Yes, Cadet. With a strong plastic developed in a plant on Venus, which has the peculiar property of remaining in liquid state when powerful electromagnetic waves of a certain frequency are penetrating it.
Oh, I get it. You blow a bubble with it out in the vacuum of space, and while the stuff is soft.
Exactly. When the magnetic waves are cut off due to the cold, the electroplast hardens almost immediately.
Hey, it's almost like freezing a soap bubble.
Nice comparison, Cadet. However, we've never quite been able to freeze a soap bubble. To my great regret, they always break. Well, maybe this will cheer you up, Doctor. The Secretary General has approved the appropriation as requested. Splendid. As I understand it, you're authorized to go ahead and construct a shell for the Venus satellite.
The Venus satellite?
Yes, Happy. The satellite is only a mile in diameter. It'll be completely enclosed by an electroplastic shell.
Hey, that's great, but... Oh, wait a minute. You blow up the shell out in space, right?
That's right. Far enough away from a planet so the electroplast will form a perfect sphere.
Uh-huh. But how do you get the satellite inside the sphere?
We cut the shell in half. Then several powerful spaceships move the two halves to the satellite, and the two parts are sealed. Then we install a space lock, and we've got a small, low-gravity world. Commander, I hate to rush off, but I'm very anxious to get back to Venus and get the project underway. Of course, Doctor. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. Thank you. My chief problem at first is to get several thousand cubic feet of Gleck out into space. Several thousand cubic feet of what? Gleck. Oh, you wouldn't know. Gleck is a technical slang for electroplast. I see. Well, where did the term come from? Oh, I don't know. You know how it is with slang. Probably some technician got tired of saying electroplast and invented the word glick. The term caught on. Well, goodbye, gentlemen. Goodbye, Doctor.
Hey, Commander, hadn't we better tell him about the messages?
No, Happy, not yet.
Yeah, but one of those messages said, get rid of Gleck at the source.
I know. And the source is Venus.
Then someone on Saturn wants to wreck the doctor's project.
I'll have Robbie assign a full monitoring crew to the Saturn frequencies. We're going to blast off for Venus and keep an eye on the plant itself.
It's dark enough now, Drovik. Let's get over to the tunnel. Okay. You better watch your step with that explosive. It won't take much of a jar to set it off. How much time have we? Exactly 10 minutes before the tunnel car comes out of the underground plant. But I can assure you we're going to be away from the plant area when the cargo of electroplast goes up.
Cargo, I'm surprised there aren't any guards patrolling the ground.
Why should there be? Now, who would want to wreck Dr. Berman's project?
You shouldn't have sold out to him. With your half interest in the electroplast process, he could have made millions of credit.
I got out because I thought he was on the wrong track. He wanted me to think that, so I would sell out.
Sure, Colgate.
But I'll fix him.
Here are the tracks. We just put the explosive on the rails?
Wait. I've got a better idea. See that flat car off on the siding? Put the explosive on that and push it into the tunnel.
Yeah, great idea. The tunnel blown up, Berman can't get any electroplast out of the plant for weeks. It's going to be a job shoving that heavy car, though, so we'd better get started.
Hold it, Hap. This is where the foreman saw the men.
There they go, sir. Over that small ridge.
That's where the tunnel comes out, the lower levels of the plant.
Tunnel?
Yes. The tracks lead to the spaceport where the electroplast is pumped aboard cargo ships.
Well, what would they be doing out there this time of night?
Let's find out. The odd foreman thought they were on some special detail.
Well, it seems to me if they were on legitimate business, they'd carry a tunnel lights.
Keep yours off until I tell you to turn it on.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, shove the car. It's as heavy as if it were on Jupiter. Once we get it moving, it won't be so bad. How far are we going to push it? Just inside the tunnel. The track has a downhill grade. The car will coast.
All right, Happy, turn on your light. Yes, sir.
Skoda, somebody's seen us. Keep shoving only a few more feet, and it will be on the main track.
Hold it a minute. What are you men doing?
Now, why don't you mind your own business?
Get that flat car off the main track.
Here comes the tunnel car. Let's go through it.
No, you don't. Come back here.
Let him go, Happy. We've got to shove this car back on the siding quickly.
Yes, sir.
Hate to let him get away, but we've got to clear the tracks.
Tunnel car's coming pretty fast, sir.
A couple more feet.
That's clear, sir.
The switch. I've got to throw the switch or the tunnel car will be derailed right into us. Hold your light here.
Yes, sir. Wow, that was close.
Yeah, but we made it.
Just barely.
Look what was on this flat car.
A can of explosives.
Come on, Happy. We'll go to the main gate and give some orders. Nobody's going to leave the plant.
The car got through. Cleared the tracks. I got a look at them as we ran out. They're space patrolmen.
Space patrol? They probably got the plant surrounded. How are we going to get out?
Wait a minute. Look up ahead there. There is Berman.
How can you tell?
By his walk. There. Now I'm sure of it. He just passed the window in the blockhouse.
Let's get away from here before he recognizes
I got
you.
a better idea. Berman will get us out of here, even past the space patrol.
How?
He's going into the blockhouse. Let's follow him and see if he's alone.
What's in the blockhouse?
Test equipment for the Gleck experiments. That's where I got the explosive. Come on. But quietly, take it easy. Done this all, Drovik.
Gate captain, please.
Quiet. Berman is in the lab.
Yes, thank you. Captain, this is Dr. Berman. Would you locate Commander Corey for me? I don't know where he is, but... Oh, he is? Put him on, please.
He's talking on the intercom.
Commander? Dr. Berman, What? The tunnel? Good heavens. Thank you, Commander. That would have set the project back for weeks. Yes, I do have an idea who's behind this. Something happened earlier today that aroused my suspicion.
We better rush him. I'll wait.
Yes, Commander, but I'm not positive. I don't like to discuss this over the intercom. Yes, I know it's urgent, but... Can you come to the blockhouse? Fine, Commander.
Let's get him. Colgar! Don't reach for that intercom, Berman. Yes, it was me.
You tried to blow up my plant.
Keep the ray gun on him, Droid. Yes, Berman, you double-crossing swindler. I didn't wreck your plan, but you'll never build an atmosphere shell.
We were friends once, Colgar. I can't understand this.
Oh, can't you? You tricked me into thinking you were failing in your electroplast research so I would sell.
But that was your decision. I was trying to be honest with you. You walked out on me when I needed your help.
We haven't time to argue with him, Colgar.
You're right, Droid. Berman, give me a pass so I can get out of gate.
A pass?
Yes. A time-stamped pass with your signature for Drowick and me. Say that we are being sent to Venus City for special work on the project. Come on, we don't have much time. Come on, hurry up. Put your name on it. That's it.
Colgar, someone's coming.
Get behind the door. Berman, you stay where you are. And if you warn them, you'll regret it, believe me.
Right in here, Happy.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Berman. Oh, I didn't know you had company.
Commander,
Commander, look out! Struck him, Drowick. Give me that ray gun. I'll give you something just as good. Now, stay where you are. Drowick, hold the gun on them a minute.
Where are you going?
In the next room. I'm going to fix up a few chemicals that will turn this blockhouse into a blast furnace. Then we'll lug these meddling space patrolmen in here with Berman.
You'll never get out the gate.
No, you don't. Watch it, Corey. What happened?
Corey got clever. I cracked him with the gun butt.
All right. Lock them in there. First, disconnect the intercom.
Okay.
Takes care of... Good. And by the time we're out of the gate, this blockhouse will be blown to pieces. And Corey with it.
We'll be back with Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, it's a fire. A 4-alarm blaze on Terra. But, hey, what's the matter with that atomic fire control power unit? Oh, too bad. It's trying to get along on ordinary fuel. But wait. Now that fire control officer is filling up the tank with super fuel. Wow! Listen to that fire control unit go now. It's supercharged. That's what. Supercharged with super fuel. Yes, sir, boys and girls. To really get going, the answer is super fuel. That's why Buzz Corey eats a good breakfast with the bite-sized super cereals that help to supercharge you. And I mean Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. Now, there's a couple of swell-tasting cereals. And, boy, both of them have that modern bite-sized design for easy eating. So, gang, get a quick start in the morning like Buzz Corey does. Eat a good breakfast with a checkerboard super cereal and get supercharged. Get them today. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. Colgar and Drovic are determined to destroy Dr. Berman's plans to employ a new process for constructing atmosphere shells. The two criminals have knocked Buzz, Happy, and the doctor unconscious, locked them in a blockhouse on the grounds of Dr. Berman's Venus plant. They have also prepared chemicals that will blast the interior of the building. Now, as Colgar and Drovic head for the main gate, Buzz and Happy try to break their way out through the door.
It's a cinch we can't break the door down.
Let's see if we can rouse Dr. Berman. Maybe he's got a key on him.
Yes, sir.
Doctor. Commander. Did they get away? Yes. You have a key to the door. We're locked in.
Locked in? Yes, and there's going to be an explosion any second.
They've wrecked the intercom, so we can't call for help. My keys? Where are my keys? They must have taken them.
Hey, Commander, how about the window? It isn't very big, but I think if we smashed it, we could get through.
This metal chair ought to do the trick. It's no use.
Hit it again.
You can't break it, Commander. It's electroplast.
Electroplast?
Yes, my discovery. And it's sealing us up in a death trap.
Wait. Didn't you say it turns to liquid when electromagnetic waves strike it?
A certain frequency, yes. Commander, you've got it. There's a generator in this room.
Where is it?
This cabinet.
Do you need any help?
After I set the dials, throw the switch on the lower panel. Wait. Now. I've got it focused toward the window. Watch it.
How long will it take to work?
Just a few seconds.
It's starting to melt. Hey, it's just like wax.
I think we can get out now. Happy, help me slide the desk under the window. Hurry.
Yes, sir.
All right, Dr. Berman, you first. I'm really not much good at this sort of thing.
If you don't get out, you'll never be any better.
Just dive out, Doctor. It's not much of a drop. All right. Okay, Happy?
Yes, sir. All right, Doctor. Look out below. Here I come. All clear, Commander. Go ahead.
All right. Let's get away from here before it blows up.
Wow. We got away just in time.
Commander, if you hadn't thought of that electromagnetic wave when you did... You're lucky you had the equipment in the lab, Doctor. Happy, let's get to the main gate and see if our friends have escaped. We were too late, Doctor. The guard let them through.
Yeah, but we'll get out on all planets alarm. They won't get far.
I think. He was once my friend. Dr. Berman, I know this has been a terrible experience for you, but I've got to ask some questions. Do you know where Koger might go? No, I don't. Some time ago, I heard he was living on Saturn. Saturn's a big planet. Any particular area? I don't know. We'll have the Saturn spaceports watched. Now, Doctor, was there anything destroyed in the blockhouse which would delay the construction of the shell around the Venus satellite? Fortunately, no. And you can go ahead and direct the project out in space. Yes. I want to do it right away. The lab ship is ready. Good. Happy and I are going to keep an eye on things, just in case our friends Kolgar and Drovik decide to try something else.
1,000 DUs outside the satellite orbit, sir.
All right, Happy. Cut our velocity and keep pace with the satellite in its orbit.
Yes, sir.
That's 1,600 hours Universal Star Time, Happy. We should be about ready to blow the bubble up any time.
There it goes, Kolgar. It's getting bigger. We better not get any closer to Berman's bubble. Let's watch it from here.
I didn't think it'd work, but look at it.
We're going to wait till it's nearly finished.
And blast the shell with a cosmic low-frequency missile.
But first we take care of Berman's control ship. The shell will be an easy target after Berman's out of the way.
How did he get out of the blockhouse? We saw the explosion.
Well, he won't get out of this explosion. Keep his lab sheet in your side, Rover.
The shell doesn't seem to be getting any bigger, sir.
It is, all, Happy. Starboard view scope.
A private cruiser?
Yes. Heading in toward the lab ship. Let's go.
Still in the sight, Kolgar.
We're too far away. We can't risk a miss. Hold your fire.
If we get too close, he may spot us.
So what? Those laboratory ships can't maneuver very fast.
Kolgar, hurry a view scope.
Space patrol ship coming in fast.
We've been lining up on Berman. They've been lining up on us.
Change vector, quickly.
This is Commander Corey aboard Terra 5 calling the unmarked private cruiser. You're in a restricted space sector. Acknowledge immediately and change your vector.
What do we do?
Keep going.
Commander Corey calling Kolgar aboard unmarked private cruiser. Cut your velocity and acknowledge or we'll fire.
Cut our velocity, Drovik. I'll talk to Corey.
They've cut velocity, sir.
They're still keeping close to the lab ship. Better cut our own velocity. Don't get too close, Happy.
Yes, sir.
Hold them an automatic rangefinder.
Commander, there's a flash from their ship.
They're firing at us. Kick it on automatic evasion control.
Yes, sir. Here comes another one. Wow, that was close. Shall I let them have it, sir?
Not yet, Happy. They can't have more than 3 cosmic missiles in that small ship.
Well, that was it, sir. Can I let them have it now?
Well, there isn't much point in firing on an unarmed enemy, is there?
Well, no, but we can't let them get away.
I don't intend to, but I want them to think they are.
Now they're barreling off on a new vector now.
That's fine. Let them gain some distance. Kick the view scope up to maximum sensitivity.
Yes, sir.
We'll find out just where Mr. Kolgar is going in such a hurry.
Good shooting, Drovik. You knocked out the great Commander Corey.
That must have been that last shot that did it. I didn't see his ship explode, though.
He's out of the fight. Probably punctured his hull. Too bad we haven't just one more cosmic missile left. It would be a cinch to knock out Berman's lab ship.
Yeah, by now, Berman's probably alerted all space patrol units in the Venus area.
You're right. We'll head for Saturn and pick up some more cosmic missiles at our Ortak Valley hideout. And then we'll be back.
They're still in the view scope, sir.
Apparently heading for Saturn.
Yeah, that checks. We picked the original messages up from Gleck about there.
Notify Saturn Space Control to order all units to watch for an unmarked ship, but not to challenge it. After all he's tried to do to us, Kolgar is our baby.
Space Control Saturn calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5.
Corey here, go ahead.
Commander, an unmarked private cruiser entered Saturn atmosphere 10 minutes ago. It's been under constant surveillance.
Has it landed yet?
It hasn't approached any city, sir. Our last report, less than a minute ago, said the ship was headed for the Ortok Valley region at steady decrease in altitude. They let down in the mountain area into the central Ortok Valley.
Order all ships to keep clear of the Ortok Valley until further notice. Corey out. Check Ortok Valley coordinates, Happy. Yes, sir. Terrifically low ceiling, sir.
Yes. Keep her steady, Happy. We've got 1,000-foot cliffs on either side of us.
Yeah, I'm checking them through the infrared viewscope, sir.
I've got something on the ground scope, Happy. Cut our velocity.
It's a spaceship.
Yes. The one we're looking for.
Their landing ladder is down, so they probably aren't in the ship.
Just like to see them try to take off now. Set her down, Happy.
Olga, listen. We got a spaceship landing.
Space Patrol.
It's Terra 5. Corey tricked us.
What do we do?
We have no missiles aboard, and we can't get back to the ship anyhow. That isn't time. I know. Up the cliff, huh?
Climb that cliff. It's straight up and down, 1,000 feet high.
I know a fairly easy way up. If Corey doesn't see us start, he'll never suspect we took that way out. Come on, Drovik, before Corey gets out of the ship.
2 sets of footprints lead over here, Happy.
Yes, sir. They lead away from the ship, and there aren't any coming back.
Apparently they're headed for the cliff. They may be holed up in a cave, so be careful.
Yes, sir. Hey, they end right at the cliff.
The ground is harder here. Still, we make footprints, so they climb the cliff.
What? Why, it's practically a wall.
Look here. Some fresh dirt has been kicked away.
Well, if they can climb it, we can. Sir, listen. The roaring sound.
Probably a waterfall farther up the canyon. Okay, Hap, let's get going.
Go on, Drovik. Keep moving.
Kulga,
I can't get a foothold. We can't go back. Corey and the killer found our way up.
It's a 500-foot drop. I'd rather have Corey get me than slip off this cliff.
Grab hold of that overhanging rock. Swing your foot around this bulge. There is almost a path from here on up. Go on. I can't get past you. So either move or I'll kick you off.
No, I'll go on.
Watch out for the soft shale. You'll slide off the cliff.
I thought I was finished.
See? Yeah, you start at a miniature landslide. Yeah, that gives me an idea. Start pushing these rocks down. These boulders. Come on, get busy.
They must have reached the top, Commander. I don't see them.
They went up the cliff like a pair of mountain goats.
Look out, Happy. Rocks are falling. Huh? Smoking rockets, that was close.
There are more coming. Press close to the cliff.
Hey, it looks like the whole top of the mountain's coming down at us.
That's Volgar's work. He's got a landslide.
What are we going to do?
Look, there's a ledge that leads over there toward the waterfall. Hurry. Be careful.
Yes, sir. Oh, it missed us.
Yes. But look at the cliff. Now there's no way up or down.
The fall's on one side and 800-foot drop on the other. We're stuck.
Wait. Look, behind the falls.
What?
Behind the falls, there's an opening there.
You're right. And there's a path behind the falls.
Watch your foothold. These rocks are wet and slippery.
Well, I guess that landslide took care of them.
Yeah, but how are we going to get down to our ship?
It's a long way, but it's safer. Come on, let's get going.
We made it. The ship sure looks good.
Yeah. Get in and let's blast off.
What's your hurry?
Corey.
That's right, and don't try anything, either of you.
A landslide. I saw it crash right on top of the path.
Uh-huh. So did we, from behind the waterfall.
There's a nice, easy path the other side of the falls.
Yeah, a straight and narrow path. Something you ought to try sometime.
An exciting preview of next week's thrilling Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. Right now, gang, this is Space Patroller Dick Tufeld.
And Commander Corey.
We're here to tell you that today is the last time we can offer you the Space Patrol Spaceophone.
You get a whole set, gang, complete with 2 spacephones.
50 feet of communication cords.
And secret briefing sheets.
So don't wait. Send for it today.
Just like talking on the telephone.
It's the magic phone you can carry anywhere.
Looks exactly like the spacephones my Space Patrollers use on Terra.
Talk on it to someone a straight 50 feet away.
Use it indoors or outdoors.
But remember, today is the last time we can make this offer.
So don't wait. Send for your Space Patrol Spaceophone set today.
Now remember, you get 2 blue and yellow plastic spacephones.
One for you and one for the person you're talking to.
And a secret Space Patrol briefing sheet. Now to get the whole set, do this. Buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then with your name and address, send 25 cents and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol story. Buzz and Happy are stranded on the Martian desert, 100 miles from the nearest city. They've just come to an expanse of tiny green plants carpeting the desert for miles.
Something's wrong with my throat, Commander. It feels tight. It's hard to breathe.
Mine's the same way, Happy.
It couldn't be the dust coming up from the ground, sir.
No, it comes from the plants. Every time we take a step, the plants shoot out spores, poisoning the atmosphere.
It's getting worse.
No, it's still worse. These are poisonous lichens.
Poison? What are we going to do, sir? We can't go back.
No, if we go on, these plant spores will paralyze our breathing muscles. We'll suffocate.
Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, The Electronic Burglar, when wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot Ralston again bring you Space Patrol! And now, a word from Commander Buzz Corey.
You know, gang, one of the greatest health steps in history was the organization of the National Blood Program of the American Red Cross. A program started in the belief that Americans would give blood to help their neighbors in peace, just as they did for fighting men in war. How would you like to help these people get more blood donations? Here's how you can help. Join my Space Patrol Blood Boosters. You help your country, and you have a lot of fun. So, boys and girls, join the Blood Boosters today.
Space Patrol, an original Mike Moser production starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston and directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Bela Kovach, Ken Mayer, and Norman Jolly. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot Ralston again present the new exciting Space Patrol! And be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. Space Patrol comes to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network. Wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot Ralston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy are stranded on the Martian desert, 100 miles from the nearest city. They've just come to an expanse of tiny green plants carpeting the desert for miles.
Something's wrong with my throat, Commander. It feels tight. It's hard to breathe.
Mine's the same way, Happy.
It couldn't be the dust coming up from the ground, sir.
No, it comes from the plants. Every time we take a step, the plants shoot out spores, poisoning the atmosphere.
It's getting worse, Commander.
What's still worse, these are poisonous lichens.
Poison? What are we going to do, sir? We can't go back.
No, if we go on, these plant spores will paralyze our breathing muscles. We'll suffocate.
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol story, The Electronic Burglar. Say, you want to have some fun, gang? Well, listen to this jet cycle. There's nothing in the tank but ordinary fuel, and here's the result. Just a putt-putt. That's all it is with ordinary fuel, but pour in some super fuel. Wow, that jet cycle is supercharged now. Yes, sir, gang. When it comes to supercharging, you need super fuel. And the same thing is true of you, especially in the morning when you haven't had a bite to eat for hours. So to really get up ahead of steam, to really get set for a lightning takeoff, you have to get supercharged. And here's Buzz Corey's way of doing it. He eats a good breakfast with rice checks or wheat checks, the super cereals that help to supercharge you. Bite-sized checks. Checks, the cereals that taste so good. Checks, the cereals that are so crisp, so absolutely different.
So take a tip from Buzz Corey. Eat a good breakfast with a super cereal and get supercharged. The super cereals, Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. Even on the man-made planet Terra itself, few citizens are aware of the existence of the Maris Design and Development Company. Yet from Mercury to Pluto, there's hardly a man, woman, or child whose life isn't made more secure and pleasant because of the engineering know-how in the creation of electronic devices by the Maris Company. And so when Howard Maris reported that his Terra offices had been burglarized, Commander Corey assumed personal charge of the investigation. Right now, Buzz and Happy are standing before the damaged door of the Maris Company vault, questioning the perplexed and worried executive, Howard Maris.
I can't understand why the alarm system didn't work. I set it myself last night, just as I always do.
How do you set it?
There's a lock switch in my private office. Once that switch is set, nobody can force an entrance to the building without setting off the alarm.
But what if somebody had the key to the outside doors?
If they used it before regular opening time, even a key would set off the alarm.
The only sign of force, inside or out, is at the vault door. Mr. Maris, are you positive you set the alarm switch last night?
Absolutely. And the alarm did work, you know.
Yes, but several hours too late. By the time our men got here, the metal on the Endurium door had cooled where the atomo torch had melted it.
It's the most baffling thing I've ever run into, Commander.
Mm-hmm. One fact is pretty clear, Mr. Maris.
Yes, what's that?
Whoever did this job was extremely familiar with your operations.
Are you suggesting it was an inside job?
It almost had to be. Just look at what was taken.
Yes, the anoscope plans. The most valuable thing in the vault.
Excuse me, sir, but what is this anoscope?
It's a device for detecting mineral deposits hundreds of feet underground.
It's 10 times more efficient than any other instrument or method we have.
Those plans, in the hands of someone who knows their value, are worth at least 1 million space credits.
Wow.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, Maris here. Oh, very well. Commander, I'm wanted in my office. Would you excuse me, please?
Surely, Mr. Maris. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, Commander, if it was an inside job, why did the thief have to use an atomo torch on the vault? He got into the building without setting off the alarm.
The alarm didn't go off until the thief was safely away. If I didn't know Maris so well, I'd suspect him of being involved in the robbery.
Well, how about his chief engineer, Cheller?
They both agreed to a brainograph test. I think they'll pass it. They've worked with Robbie and me on top-secret projects a number of times. Maris and Cheller are exceptionally honest.
Well, the security department men have gone over everything and haven't found a single clue. What's the next step?
The brainograph.
Excuse me, sir, but have a look at this.
What?
On the floor of the vault here, it looks like broken glass.
It is. Somebody dropped his glasses. Gather it up carefully, Happy.
Yes, sir. Well, there's hardly anything left but slivers.
Don't cut yourself, but get all of it.
Hey, Maris doesn't wear glasses.
Neither does Cheller. Happy, don't mention this to anyone. We'll have a check made on Maris employees to see who does wear glasses. I hope there are enough large pieces there to tell what the optical formula is.
I've got it, sir. The pieces are in this piece of paper.
All right, Hap. We'll send it over to the lab.
Goodbye, Stokes. So long, Maris, and thanks. Don't miss that any time. Now, Commander, you mentioned a brainograph test whenever you're ready.
Fine, Mr. Maris. By the way, the man who just left, he looks familiar.
Oh, that was Ward Stokes. He's a precision machinist. Does special assignments for me from time to time.
Oh, sure. I remember him now. About a year ago, Major Robertson had him work on a special viewscope for the security lab.
Oh, that's so? I had him in mind for the anoscope job.
Did you discuss it with him?
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't do that until I'd checked with security. That's our standard policy on really important jobs. Stokes just dropped in, pick up an instrument case he left in my office.
I see.
Your man, Captain Scoville, talked to him.
Captain Scoville and his men will remain on duty here for a day or two, Mr. Maris, checking the alarm system.
Yes, Commander, I understand.
They won't interfere with your regular operations any more than they have to. Now, if you'll get Cheller, Happy and I will take you to headquarters for the brainograph test.
Oh, Stokes, you got the case all right.
Yes, walked right into Maris' office. One of Corey's men gave me the once-over, but didn't even stop me.
Has the case been tampered with?
Oh, it was on the floor exactly where I left it yesterday. After all, it looks just like what it's supposed to be, an instrument case.
Yes. Not even Buzz Corey would suspect this small box of being an electronic burglar.
And now that we've got it back here, no one will ever suspect. Oh, I see you found your spare glasses.
Yeah. You know, I've worn glasses for 30 years, and I never broke a pair till last night.
And you never cracked a safe till last night either. Oh, did you?
Well, if I did, I wouldn't have been so awkward when I removed the protective goggles.
No. Well, it was a small price to pay for what we've got.
Yes. That reminds me, you better put that robot burglar away and help me copy the endoscope design.
Where do you want me to put the burglar?
In the staging room for now.
All right. This stage set's a great piece of work, even if I do say so myself. Startling duplicate of Merce's private office.
Well, it would have to be, wouldn't it? Otherwise, we couldn't have trained our mechanical helper to find the alarm switch in the real office.
You know, I've made dozens of machines operated by electric eyes, but until you came along, it never occurred to me to,
Yes, to make a machine that works for you instead of somebody else.
Yes, Bartram, I guess that's it. The toughest part of the whole job was getting a hold of Maris' burglar alarm key long enough to make a duplicate.
Maris doesn't suspect us. Corey doesn't suspect us. I'd say we pulled it off without a hitch. But now, we better get ready to blast off from Mars.
Happy, I suppose you heard the results of the brainograph test.
Yes, sir. Maris and Scheller didn't have anything to do with the robbery.
Not only that, but they haven't the remotest idea who might have done it.
That's great, except that it doesn't help us much. Oh, how about the fragments of glasses?
Well, the lab couldn't tell a thing. The boys did their best, but the pieces aren't big enough to indicate the optical formula.
Oh, well. Maybe it wasn't a thief that dropped it there anyway.
Maybe not. Maris says that he and Scheller are the only ones that go into the vault. We would get this clue just when our chief optical expert is in the hospital.
Dr. Pricer?
Yes. I contacted Pricer and showed him the fragments on the telescreen. He thinks he could determine the lens formula after he's out of the hospital.
When will that be?
In 10 days. You know, I think I'll take his suggestion. Pricer says this man Stokes might be able to help us.
Stokes? Oh, the fellow Maris was talking about?
Yes. Stokes helped Pricer on some high-precision optical work a while back. Pricer thinks he's great.
He could well be, with both Maris and Pricer raving about him.
Now, let's pay him a visit, Happy, and see if he can put our glass jigsaw puzzle together. Mr. Stokes, I imagine you're a pretty busy man, but at the moment, you're the only one who can help us.
I'm rather rushed, Commander, but if it's for the Space Patrol, I'll be glad to if I can.
I have some fragments of what apparently was once a pair of glasses. Can you determine the optical formula from these small pieces?
It would be rather difficult. May I ask why you want this information?
By tracing the prescription, we might be able to check with various opticians and find a thief.
A thief?
Yes. Confidentially, I'll tell you that these fragments were found in Maris's vault after the burglary. You know about that, of course.
Yes, perfectly outrageous. And this is the only clue you have?
So far.
Oh. Well, I'm afraid I couldn't give you a very accurate analysis, Commander.
I see. Well, perhaps Dr. Pricer can do it when he gets out of the hospital.
However, let me examine these fragments more closely. Will you let me take them into my lab in the next room?
Of course.
It won't take me long to find out if further tests will be worthwhile.
He didn't seem very interested at first, Commander.
It's a challenge to his ingenuity. He'll probably help us.
All these pictures of gadgets on the walls. Are these Stokes' inventions?
I suppose so.
Hey, come and look at this one, sir. The picture here by the door.
All right.
It's a miniature view scope, no bigger than your hand.
An amazing piece of construction.
I'd like to see the actual thing. Hey, I wonder what's in this room here.
Happy.
Oh, well, I wasn't snooping, sir. I just thought... Hey, look at this.
What is it?
For a minute, I thought I'd been here before. But this is an exact duplicate of Maris's private office.
It does look like it. Same furniture arrangement, same size, same fixtures.
Yeah, maybe the same person designed the offices, and Maris's is just like Stokes.
No, I don't think so, Happy.
What do you mean, sir?
These walls don't reach the ceiling. This is a room built inside a larger room, like a stage set.
You're right. It seems kind of silly.
It certainly does. And then...
Hey, what's that, Commander?
Machinery of some kind, but I don't see... Oh, it's that instrument case. The lid's opening.
Look at it, Commander. Now the whole case is moving, rolling across the floor.
I wonder what could have started that thing up.
Now look, it's running a long rod up in the air.
Yeah, very ingenious. A telescoping rod in sections with a key on the end of it.
Sure like to have one of those things. Here. Hey, looks like it's on its way to unlock something.
To unlock a mystery. Watch it closely, Happy.
I'm going to tell him about you. Well, tell him you can probably figure out the optical prescription. Then, in a day or two, give him a fake formula.
Good. Then Corey will never be able to trace you.
Go tell him and get him out of here.
Yes. Commander, I've got good news for you. Commander, where are you?
In here, Stokes.
Oh.
Happy and I are watching this fantastic gadget of yours.
How does that thing get started? Here, I'll shut it off.
No, wait. Let's see what it does.
It's just a silly toy. I'll turn it off.
Later, Stokes.
But Commander. Hey, it acts like it's looking for something. Now it's heading right for that little doojigger on the wall there.
The lock switch.
It's feeling for the keyhole.
A very clever machine, Stokes. So that's how the alarm system was shut off.
What do you mean?
You can't deny this room is an exact replica of Naris's office.
Suppose it is. Lots of offices are alike.
I see. Then, of course, you won't mind taking a brainograph test.
That'll be enough snooping, Corey. Get your hands off. You too, Cadet. Get their weapons, Stokes. Yes, Boucher. Keep behind them in case I have to use this ray gun.
So you're Stokes' partner in the burglary. Boucher, huh?
Hold them, Stokes. Confound it, men. You should have locked the door. How did I know they'd be coming here? And that robot. How did it get started? The timing mechanism. I forgot to shut it off.
So just 12 hours after the robbery, it started up again.
Yeah. In another 3 hours, the robot would turn the lock switch back on, move back to its original position, withdraw its wheels and levers, and become an innocent instrument case again.
Too bad Stokes has such a good reputation as a precision machinist, or we'd never have come here.
It is too bad, Corey. But I'm afraid it's too bad for you.
What are we going to do with them?
We can't dispose of them here on Terra. We'll take them to my lab on the Martian desert, where they'll never be found.
We'll be back with Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, gang, listen to this boy going to the breakfast table. He doesn't care if he ever gets there, does he? He doesn't like his breakfast cereal, that's why. No zip, no lift, no flavor. Now, here's a girl. Listen to how she goes to breakfast. She doesn't even bother about going. Same trouble. A cereal dull as can be. No taste, no tang, no nothing. Now, here's another youngster going to breakfast. No wonder he's in a hurry. He's really going for breakfast, because this fella does what Buzz Corey does. He has a checkerboard super cereal for breakfast every single morning. Rice Chex or Wheat Chex. The cereals with that modern bite-sized design for easy eating. And boy, it's not just the size that makes Chex easy to eat. It's that flavor. Man, oh man, Chex have a flavor that keeps that spoon of yours going up and down, up and down, up and down until the cereal bowl's empty. So get the cereals that have you sprinting to the table for them. The super cereals that help to supercharge you. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. Buzz and Happy have been captured by two criminals who stole designs for a valuable new mineral detection device from the Maris Design and Development Company vault. The thieves, Stoke and Boucher, have locked a space patrolman in a compartment on a spaceship and are heading for a hideout on the Martian desert.
Certainly aren't taking any chances, sir. My wrists are tied so tight, my fingers are numb.
If we can work loose before the ship lands, we might be able to fight our way out of this mess, Happy. Keep at it.
Yes, sir.
Now, they cut the rockets. Feel that increased gravity pull?
Yes, sir.
They're carrying out their original plans. It means we're landing on Mars. We've got to work fast before they can land.
Unlock the compartment, Stokes. I'll keep them covered.
All right.
Now, you two on your feet. Let's check these ropes. Turn around. I said turn around. And I say something, I mean it, Corey.
I'll remember that, Boucher.
With the little time you got left, I suggest you dwell on more pleasant memories. Okay. The ropes are still tight. Get moving, you two. This is our little Martian hideout.
Sure is a filthy little hideout.
Well, maybe we'll let you clean it up before we do away with you. Let's get some heat on. I'm freezing. Stokes, you're going right back to the ship and blast off for Lowell City.
You still think I should make contact with Thorpe?
Yes. I'll stay here and guard Corey and the cadet until everything is set. Leave the designs here.
I'll put them in the cupboard.
All right. If you find everything safe in Lowell City, then make arrangements for getting the money from Thorpe, and we'll hand over the design.
When do we get rid of Corey and the cadet?
Just as soon as you get back. Nobody will ever find them out here in the desert. You better get going.
Oh, I wanted to ask you a couple of things. Come out to the ship with me.
Well, all right. I don't imagine you'll want to leave, Corey. But we'll lock the door, just in case.
Well, sir, we've got until Stokes gets back to get out of here.
Even if we overpower Boucher, we'll need Stokes' ship to escape. Do you see a space phone in here?
No, sir. Maybe there's one hidden around someplace.
Happy, there's a heating control. Kick the switch with your foot.
You cold, sir?
No, but put it on full, quickly.
Yes, sir. There it is.
Good. Now, if this room will just heat up in a hurry.
Well, there goes Stokes.
Now, when Boucher comes into this heated room, I have a hunch he'll have some trouble with his glasses.
Huh?
Coming in from the cold air, they'll fog up just like the windows.
Yeah, then we can rush him.
The best we can hope to do is knock him down with a headlong dive until we can get our hands free. Here he comes. Get ready.
Yes, sir.
All right, gentlemen. Now we'll just relax. Oh, you got the heat on. I told you space patrolmen were hardy souls, accustomed to cool. Confound it. My glasses are...
Okay, Happy.
Get off of me.
He dropped his gun, Commander.
Take it out of the way. That's it.
Can you handle Boucher with your hands tied, sir?
I won't have to. They're loose, Happy. All right, Boucher.
Let go of me.
And stop struggling. On your feet. I'll take the gun, Happy. Boucher, untie the cadet.
Wait till I get my breath. You knocked all the wind out of me.
It's all right, sir. The ropes are working loose.
Good. Boucher, is there a spaceophone in this building?
No, there was a portable set on the ship, but I forgot to bring it in.
You just have to wait till Stokes returns. You'll get a nice surprise when he walks in that door.
Should we tie Boucher up, sir?
That might be a good idea. We won't have to watch him so closely. Boucher, get away from that cupboard.
I'll get him, Commander.
They're not there. They're gone.
What are you talking about?
The anoscope design. Stoke never put them in a cupboard.
I saw him walk over there.
He double-crossed me. The dirty rat.
What good would they do you if they were there?
Don't you see? Stoke isn't coming back, and we're stuck here.
He's right, Happy. This puts all of us in a tough spot. Boucher, how far did you say it was to the nearest city?
100 miles. 100 miles of desert.
We don't have any way to call for help.
We'll die out here. We only got food for 2 days.
Maybe. But we're not going to stay here. Let's take what food and water we can and start across the desert.
On foot? We could never make it.
We're going to try it. Where's the food locker? Come on, Boucher. You're lagging behind.
Don't make me walk anymore, please.
You've got yourself into this mess. We're going to keep moving.
All right. I'll try to make it.
That's it. Now stop blubbering and save your breath.
Hey, these green plants are all around us.
They're lichens, Happy. In the Martian summer, they turn rust-colored.
Stop. Wait.
Now what?
I feel sick. Something's wrong with my throat.
Well, I don't feel so good myself, but we've got to keep moving.
Hold on a minute. There's something strange in the air.
It's dust coming up from the ground, sir. Every time we step, a little puff of dust spurts up.
From the lichens, Happy. They're spores.
Spores?
Yes, tiny cells from these plants. This kind is poison.
What?
Getting into our throats, lungs.
Let's get out of them, quick.
But we've got to keep on going.
The plants stretch for miles in all directions except behind us.
Well, then let's go back.
We can't go back. Commander, these spores, what do they do?
If we keep inhaling them, they'll paralyze our breathing muscles. We'll suffocate.
I'm going back.
Boucher, come back here. Grab him, Happy.
Boucher, keep your head. All this stomping around's making it worse.
Stand still, Boucher. Be quiet. Look around, examine the terrain. Maybe we can find a bare stretch of ground.
It's hopeless. We're trapped. Trapped on the desert.
I said be quiet. See anything, Happy?
No, sir. Except that low hill there. It seems to be a tower of some kind.
Yes, a power relay tower. There's one every 20 miles.
Maybe there's a spaceophone at the tower. If we can get there, we could call for help.
That's worth a try. Come on, let's go.
Come on, Boucher. Just a few yards more.
I can hardly breathe.
I don't see anything that looks like a spaceophone, Happy.
Neither do I, sir. Just some wheels and gears.
Those are to adjust the receiving and deflecting coils at the top of the tower.
You mean we can't call for help after coming all this way?
I'm afraid not.
Then what good is this monstrosity? We'll all die here under the tower.
Look, Boucher, lie down and rest a minute and keep quiet.
Sir, by looking at the coils, can't we tell the direction to take to Lowell City?
Yes, but it's straight across those poison lichens. Now, wait a minute. If we were to turn those wheels, it would interrupt the power beam. The beam would miss the next relay tower.
Hey, yeah. They'd have to send somebody out to investigate.
Well, then do it. Turn the wheels. Cut off the power.
Boucher, do you realize that human lives may depend on that power beam?
Well, what about our lives? Our lives depend on it, too. Turn it off.
Well, what we might do, Happy... Might deflect it slightly, just enough to register in the instruments at the monitor station.
Well, how could we be sure we weren't turning it too far?
See that dial? It points to 0. That means it's right on the beam. The red lines on either side are the danger limits. Here, let's release the holding mechanism. Now we'll turn the wheel carefully.
The indicator's still on 0, sir.
The control mechanism has a high gear ratio for accurate focusing of the beam.
Now it's moving, sir. Halfway to the danger line.
That ought to alert the maintenance crew. Now we'll spin the wheel the other way, back and forth.
Want me to take over again, sir? You must be tired.
All right, Happy. Thanks.
You've been doing that for half an hour and nothing happened. Turn the beam off. Clear off. That's the only way to make them pay attention. It'll be dark in a little while. Nobody will be able to see us.
Commander, look. It's an atmosphere ship.
And it's headed right for the tower.
Well, wait for them. Make sure he sees us.
He'll see us, don't worry. It's a power commission ship, all right, sir. See the big red circle on the hull?
All right, Happy. He's coming in for a landing. Set the indicator back to 0.
There it is, sir. I'll lock it in place. Control secured, sir.
All right, let's get to the ship. We've got an appointment with Stokes in Lowell City.
I told you and the commander how you can pick up Stokes and the man who's going to buy the design. They will go on my record one day.
Oh, sure, but I'm afraid it's a little late now to start thinking about getting off easily.
Happy, I just talked to Lowell City Space Control and the pilot's spacephone. They're putting a guard around Stokes' ship in case he tries to blast off.
Fine. When do we get to Lowell City?
In a couple of minutes. We'll turn Boucher over to the spaceport guards and go after Stokes and Stein. Well, Stokes, the design seemed to be complete.
That all there, Mr. Tharp? Now I'd like my money.
Of course. I'm glad you and Boucher changed your minds and made a straightforward business deal.
The original plan was just a precaution in case we were being followed. But everything worked out so well.
All right, Stokes. I'll take those plans.
Corey. Get Tharp, Happy. I'll handle Stokes.
Yes, sir. Where do you think you're going?
All right, Stokes. Had enough?
Oh, yes, Corey. Let up.
I've got Tharp, Commander.
Keep them covered. I'll get the anoscope design.
Yes, sir. All right, Stokes. Move over next to your partner.
Just tell me one thing. How did you get out of the desert?
Well, Commander, why don't we let Boucher explain that to him? It'll give them something to talk about for the next several years they're going to be spending together.
We'll be back with an action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol story in just a moment. Say, you want to hear something funny? Well, listen to this. That's a word scrambler, gang. A machine that scrambles secret messages sent by space patrollers over the spaceophone. Now, do you want to know what the message said? Well, here, I'll have it unscrambled for you.
To get supercharged, eat a good breakfast with Instant Ralston.
That's one of the most important messages a space patroller ever sent. Yes, sir, when you sit down to a good breakfast with good hot Ralston, well, boy, oh, boy, that's your day to shine. For Instant Ralston packs a wallop in every spoonful. It's rich whole wheat. Remember, rich whole wheat. That means it'll warm up your motor, tune up your thinker, help start off your day with a bang. Yes, that's the kind of start Buzz Corey gets. That's the kind of start you need to be a winner just like him. So come on, Space Patrollers, get supercharged. Eat a good breakfast with good hot Ralston. And now for a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol story. Buzz and Happy are on Venus on a farm where food is chemically grown in large tanks. As they walk toward a building where Tonga is held captive, huge sun mirrors atop several tall towers turn ominously toward them.
Smoking rockets, Commander. It's really getting hot all of a sudden.
Yes, waves of heat. Even for Venus, this is unusual.
Oh, my eyes. What a glare.
Happy, don't look at those reflectors. They'll blind you.
Let's run for the building and get out of this sun.
Pat, look out. They're focusing those sun mirrors on us.
A whole battery of them are pointed right toward us.
Maybe we can dodge them. Run back this way.
Commander, they've got us surrounded by those heat beams, and they're closing in.
They hit us with all those at once. We're finished for good.
Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, The Space Shark, when wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot Ralston again bring you Space Patrol! And now here's a message from Commander Buzz Corey.
Here's a little riddle. What is it that is scarce, valuable, and necessary, yet given away free? The answer is blood, the gift of life. Yes, when grown-ups give blood at the Red Cross Center, they don't receive money, but they do receive the wonderful, deep-felt satisfaction of knowing they helped save a life. Now, how would you like to help me get more people to save lives? Join my Space Patrol Blood Boosters. It's lots of fun, so how about it? Join today.
Space Patrol, an original Mike Moser production, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston and directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Bela Kovac, Ken Mayer, and Norman Jolly. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Checks, Rice Checks, and Good Hot Ralston again present the new, exciting Space Patrol! And be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. Space Patrol comes to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.
By transcription. It's National Wheaties Week. Yes, it's National Wheaties Week, and Wheaties present Dimension X.
On stage tonight, Dimension X, another in the Wheaties' big parade of exciting half-hour presentations.
It's National Wheaties Week, the week to buy Wheaties and eat Wheaties and enjoy them as never before. The time to really find out what difference a good breakfast with Wheaties can make. You know, you're getting protein when you dip into a bowl full of Wheaties. You're getting whole wheat minerals and vitamins. You're getting whole wheat energy. Yup, there's a whole kernel of wheat in every Wheaties flake. That's how a better breakfast, beginning with Wheaties, can help you step lively all morning long. And that's why all over this big country, folks are celebrating National Wheaties Week and stepping lively. So how about it? Get out the big cereal bowl and help celebrate Breakfast of Champions. Pour out those golden flakes, put on the milk, put on the fruit, and let's have National Wheaties Week. You ready? Let's go.
Tonight, Dimension X presents The Martian Chronicles, a dramatization of the new novel by one of our most brilliant young science fiction writers, Ray Bradbury. The Martian Chronicles. January in the year 1999. 1 minute it was Ohio winter with doors closed, the panes blind with frost, icicles fringing every roof, children skiing on snowy slopes. And then a long wave of warmth crossed the small town, a flooding sea of hot air.
Bye, Mom. I'm going out. William McClellan, you come back here. You know you can't go out in winter without a coat. You want to catch your death of cold?
But it isn't cold. It's warm outside. It's rocket summer.
Rocket summer?
You know, like Indian summer.
The rocket lay on the launching field, blowing out pink clouds of fire and heat, cracking the icicles, melting the snow, making summer with every breath of its mighty exhausts. It seared the faces of the watching crowd and drove them back. And then they saw the red fire and heard the big sound as the silver rocket shot up toward Mars and left them behind on an ordinary Monday morning on the ordinary planet Earth. They lived in a house of crystal pillars on the planet Mars by the edge of an empty sea. And every morning you could see Ila eating the golden fruits that grew from the crystal walls, or her husband sitting alone in his room reading from a singing metal book over which he brushed his hand as one might play a harp. Ela and her husband were not old. Once they had liked painting pictures with chemical fire, swimming in the canals when the wine trees filled them with green liquors, and talking into the dawn together. But no more. Marriage sometimes makes people old and familiar while still young, and Ela was not happy now. This morning she sat dreaming between the crystal pillars and wished that somehow a miracle might happen. And then suddenly...
Ela, did you call?
No.
I thought I heard you cry out.
Did I? I was almost asleep and had a dream.
In the daytime? You don't often do that.
Strange. How very strange. I dreamed about a man. A tall man. 6 feet tall.
Oh, how absurd. He'd be a giant, a misshapen giant.
I know. And yet somehow he looked quite handsome. He was dressed in a strange uniform. And he came down out of the sky in a long silver craft.
Out of the sky? What nonsense.
He spoke pleasantly to me in another language. But somehow I understood him with my mind. Telepathy, I suppose.
Oh, really, Ela?
And he said, I've come from the 3rd planet in my ship. My name is Nathaniel York.
A stupid name. Whoever heard of a name like that?
Perhaps they have names like that on Earth.
That's ridiculous, Ela. Everyone knows the 3rd planet is incapable of supporting life. There's too much oxygen in their atmosphere.
I suppose. But haven't you ever wondered if... Well, wouldn't it be fascinating if there were people there, and they traveled through space in some sort of ship?
Really, Ela? You know I hate this emotional wailing. Now, let's get on with our work.
Evening came. The twin white moons of Mars were rising, and the house closed itself in like a giant flower. A wind blew among the pillars, stirring Ela's russet hair, crooning softly in her ear. And it was then that she began singing the song.
Drink to me only thine eyes, and I will pledge with mine.
Ela, what's that song?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? I've never heard it before. Did you compose it?
No. Yes. No, I don't know, really. I don't even know what the words are. They're in another language. It was part of the dream I had, I guess.
Oh. You know, you haven't been yourself lately. It might do you good if we went away to the Blue Mountains for a week or so.
What?
Did you hear what I said?
I'm sorry. I was watching the sky.
You're certainly interested in the sky tonight.
It's very beautiful.
Well, what about my suggestion? Shall we leave for the Blue Mountains in the morning?
You mean go away now? Oh, no.
No? Why not? Why don't you want to go?
I don't know. I just don't want to, that's all. Oh, leave a kiss in the cup, and I'll not ask for...
Ela, I'm sick of that silly song. It's late. Let us sleep.
From the crystal walls poured a soft carpeting of mist to support Ela where she lay down to sleep. But through the night she tossed restlessly, until just at dawn the dream recurred.
Ela, wake up.
What? Oh, what is it?
You've been dreaming again. You talked in your sleep.
Did I?
Yes. What were you dreaming?
Oh, the ship. It came from the sky again. And the tall man stepped out and talked with me, telling me little jokes and laughing.
What else happened?
And then this Captain York... Oh, I can't. It's all so silly.
Tell me.
He said I was beautiful. And then he kissed me.
I thought so. What else?
Why, Eel, you're so bad-tempered. It's only a dream.
Is it? You know I can read your mind. You can't keep secrets from me.
Well, all that happened was this Captain York told me... Well, he told me he'd take me away in his ship into the sky. Take me back to his planet with him. It's quite ridiculous, really.
Ridiculous, is it? You should have heard yourself. Fawning on him, talking to him, singing with him all night. In your dream, he landed in Green Valley, didn't he?
Please.
And he told you he was coming today.
Yes. But what's come over you? It was only a dream. You can't be jealous of that.
No, I suppose not. Forgive me. I'm being childish.
Ian, you're sick. You've been working too hard.
No, I'm all right. But perhaps you're right. Maybe I could use a little relaxation.
Yes.
I think I'll take the morning off and go hunting.
Hunting?
Yes, in Green Valley.
Numbly, she watched him go to a closet and draw forth an evil-looking weapon. And then her husband was gone, walking toward Green Valley. And Ela waited, watching the sky for an unknown thing, trembling with a nameless fear. And then it happened. A whirring, rushing sound. The warmth as of a giant fire passing in the air. The gleam of metal in the sky.
He's come. It's true. The dream is true.
The rocket vanished over the hill. The sky was empty again. And trembling, Ela waited again, looking toward Green Valley and seeing nothing. Listening for sounds and hearing nothing. Until a shot sounded, very sharply. The sound of the evil weapon.
Oh, no. No.
Her body jerked with the sound, and she wanted to scream and never stop screaming. For now she knew the dream could never come true. There was nothing left but the song, the strange and fine and beautiful song.
Drink to me only with thine eye, and I will pledge with mine. Or leave a kiss within the cup.
But still the rockets came. The next ship came down from the stars and the black velocities and the silent gulfs of space, and landed by night near a Martian city. The men made their way to the outer rim of the dreaming city, and then Jeff Spender went in to reconnoiter, while the others watched and waited for something to stir in the haunted city, some gray form to rise, some voice to break the unearthly stillness. Where were the people? Where were the Martians? Nothing stirred to disturb the silence until...
Halt! Who goes there? Don't shoot!
Hold it, Parker. It's Spender and his party. They're coming back.
Captain Wildman!
Over here!
Well? Captain, we've searched the city. People were living here last week.
People?
Martians.
Where are they now?
Dead.
Dead? What did they die of?
You won't believe it, Captain. Chickenpox.
Good Lord, no.
Yes. No resistance to an Earth disease, I guess.
So the other rocket did get through to Mars.
It looks like it, Captain. God only knows what the Martians did to them. But at least we know what they did to the Martians.
You mean they're all dead?
Yes. This planet is through.
Hey, you hear that, guys? We're safe. Break out a bottle, Cookie. Let's have a drink to celebrate.
Stop it, Parkhill. Put down that bottle.
What's eating you, Spender? The planet's ours now. We got to christen it, don't we? I christen thee the city of... I christen... Hey, Park Hill City.
Park Hill, I warned you.
All right, Spender, that's enough. That'll cost you a $50 fine. Cookie, McClure, take care of Parkhill. Spender, you come with me. All right, Spender, why did you hit him?
I don't know, Captain. I was ashamed, I guess. Ashamed of Sam Parkhill and the noise and the spectacle the whole crew was making.
It's been a long trip. It's only natural they'd want to have their fling.
Yes, but where's their sense of what's right? Their respect for what's happened here? Captain, a race builds itself for 1,000,000 years, refines itself, builds cities like this one, does everything it can to give itself respect and beauty, and then it dies. Of what? Not anything fine or majestic or fitting, but a dirty little thing like chicken pox. And Sam Parkhill wants to celebrate.
I know, Spender, but you've got to remember you've a different way of seeing things.
I'm seeing things all right. I'm seeing what we'll do to Mars. We'll rip it up, rip the skin off, ruin it the way we've ruined our own planet. Captain, look at the city. It may be the last time you'll ever see it this way.
Beautiful in the moonlight, isn't it?
Yes. There's a poem by Byron that describes it, and how the Martians would feel tonight, if there were any of them left to feel. So we'll go no more a-roving so late into the night, though the heart be still as loving and the moon be still as bright. For the sword outwears its sheath, and the soul wears out the breast, and the heart must pause to breathe, and love itself must rest. Oh, the night was made for loving, and the day returns too soon. Yet we'll go no more a-roving by the light of the moon.
Without a word, the Earthmen stood and looked at the city. The bottle lay shattered at Sam Parkhill's feet, and the sour stench of liquor filled the cool air. The men of Earth had come to Mars.
Dimension X will continue in just a moment. It's National Wheaties Week. Yes, the week when everybody tries Wheaties, even an orchestra leader. And here he comes from behind the scenes in radio to help celebrate National Wheaties Week, Mr. Von Dexter.
Thank you, Frank. Hello, folks. I understand this is National Wheaties Week. I can't get a kick out of that. The only breakfast food in the world with a week of its own. And I'm here for just one thing, to ask you to try Wheaties during National Wheaties Week. There are a lot of us whose voices you've never heard on the Wheaties big parade of radio programs, you know. Backstage people.
Like musicians.
Right, Frank, like musicians. We'd get great pleasure from knowing you like these programs well enough to buy a box of Wheaties tomorrow. Wheaties are good. They're nice to eat. I like them. I think you will. Try them once during National Wheaties Week. Will you do that?
Vaughn, I think the folks will.
Good. Thank you. Good night.
The men of Earth came to Mars. They came because they were afraid or unafraid, because they were happy or unhappy, because they felt like pilgrims or did not feel like pilgrims. The government posters screamed, "There's work for you in the sky. See Mars!" And the men shuffled forward, all kinds of men, all coming for different reasons. The rockets came like drums beating in the night. They came like locusts, swarming and settling in blooms of rosy smoke. Mars was a distant shore, and the settlers spread upon it in waves. First the pioneers and builders, then the people of civilization. Some came because they were afraid of a coming war on Earth. Some came because they were afraid of nothing. Some came to escape from the smell of the subways and the cabbage tenements. And some came from houses like the one in Ohio. It was a good house, the house in Ohio, and for 6 years the family had lived there contentedly, enjoying music and poetry and the rich, warm things of life. For the house had been built to be lived in the year 2020. It contained all the latest automatic devices, from talking book recorders to singing clocks.
tick-tock, 7 o'clock. Time to rise. Open your eyes.
As the family rose and dressed, the beds whirred electronically and made themselves. In the kitchen, the stove sighed and ejected from its warm interior 8 eggs, sunny side up, 12 bacon slices, 2 coffees, and 2 glasses of milk.
7-9, breakfast time. Come and dine. 7-9.
Beside the breakfast table, the facsimile machine clacked and deposited the morning paper on the table. The headlines today spoke ominously of the danger of a coming war, and the man frowned as he read the news.
Today is August 4th, 2026. Insurance, gas, and atom heat bills are due. And today, remember, the family has planned a picnic.
Gee, Dad, are we really going?
Sure, Timmy, why not?
It's raining out.
It's not raining where we're going, son. Now run upstairs, pack your fishing tackle. We're going on our picnic, all right.
Okay, Dad.
Bill, are you sure we ought to go?
Yes. Have you seen the headlines this morning?
Looks bad, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. The rocket's ready. All we have to do is pack and take off.
I know, but... Well, flying to Mars, it seems so crazy. Well, all right, then we'll go. Should we tell the children why we're going?
No, not yet. Let them enjoy the picnic.
The house went on with its appointed tasks.
9:15, time to clean. 9:15, time to clean.
Out of the molding darted hundreds of tiny mechanical mice, all rubber and metal. They sucked up the dust and dirt in the house and popped back into their burrows. In the walls, relays clicked, memory tapes glided under electric eyes, recorded voices moved under steel needles.
12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, tick-tock, 8 o'clock.
Evening came. In the living room, the hearth fire bloomed out of nothing, and the phonograph spoke from beside the fireplace.
Mrs. McClellan, what poem would you like to hear this evening? Mr. McClellan? Since you express no preference, I shall select at random from among your favorites. Sarah Teasdale, There Will Come Soft Rains.
There will come soft rains and the smell of the ground, and swallows circling with their shimmering sound, and frogs in the pools singing at night, and wild plum trees in tremulous white. Robins will wear their feathery fire, whistling their whims on a low fence wire, and not one will know of war, not one will care at last when it is done. Not one would mind, neither bird nor tree, if mankind perished utterly, and spring herself, when she woke at dawn, would scarcely know that we were gone.
The phonograph finished the poem, but there was no one there to hear, for the family had gone to Mars. On the Martian desert beside the highway, there rose a blare of red and yellow neon lights that spelled the death of Jeff Spender's dream. Sam's hot dog stand was what the sign read, and Sam, of course, was the same Sam Parkhill who had fought with Spender years before. 10,000 rockets were reported leaving soon for Mars, with 100,000 hungry customers, and Sam wanted to be ready for them.
Hey, look up there, Elmer. See that green star up there? That's Earth. Good old wonderful Earth. Makes you feel almost reverent, don't it?
Yeah.
Send me you're hungry and you're starved. Something. That's a poem I learned in school. Come on, Earth, send me your rockets. Here's Sam Parkhill with the only hot dog stand on Mars.
Sam, what if the rockets don't come? What if there's a war on Earth?
Don't worry, they're coming all right. Ain't nothing gonna happen to spoil my plans, baby. I figured it all out.
Sam! Hey, Sam, look up there! Earth!
Well, what? Oh, no.
It's catching fire. It's burning.
Oh, no, that can't be Earth. Elmer, they can't do this to me. I got all our money invested in this place.
Go ahead, Sam. Switch on more lights. Turn up the music. get the hot dogs on the fire. There'll be another batch of customers coming along in about 100 million years.
Oh, no, I couldn't be.
What a swell spot for a hot dog stand. Let you in on a little secret, Sam. This looks like it's going to be an off-season.
The light beam radio crackled with the news. By morning, the shelves of the luggage store were empty, and the rockets were blasting off, headed back to Earth. In a few days, everyone was gone, and the planet of Mars once more lay deserted and silent. And then, after all the rest had gone, one last rocket landed on Mars. A small, family-sized rocket come all the way from Earth. It seemed a long way to go for a picnic, but Dad had suggested a fishing trip, and Mother thought the whole family would enjoy a vacation. So here they were, floating down a Martian canal, with Timothy sitting in the back of the boat with Dad and Mother up front holding Alice the baby, and the deserted Martian towns drifting slowly by.
Dad,
What is it, Timmy?
when do we see the Martians? You promised we would.
Soon, Tim, soon.
Oh, but William, the last Martians died out years ago. They're a dead race now.
Not quite. Don't worry, son. I'll show you some real live Martians later on.
Gee, this is swell. I wish we didn't ever have to go home. How long can we stay?
1,000,000 years.
1,000,000 years?
Yes. It's time we told you, son. We're not going home. This is where we'll live from now on.
But what about the rocket? What about Ohio?
There's nothing there now but ruins. The last Earth radio just went off the air. That means the war is over and Earth is finished. We're going to blow up our rocket and start all over. See if we can't build a better world up here.
You mean Mars is going to be our home?
Yes. I hope you don't mind too much.
No, sir. But what about the Martians? When do we get to see them?
There they are, son. Look down at the water.
I don't see anything there.
Beside the boat. Look at the reflections in the water.
But that's us down there. Just you and me and Mom and the baby.
Yes, son. You see, we're the Martians now.
For a long, silent moment, Timmy stared down at the reflections of the family in the waters, and the Martian stared back up at him. Then he lifted his eyes to the deep ocean sky, trying once more to see Earth and the house he had always called home. But Earth was too far away, and the house was now only a heap of radioactive rubble. Only one wall remained standing, and within the wall a voice spoke again and again and again.
Not one would mind, neither bird nor tree, if mankind perished utterly, and spring herself, when she woke at dawn, would scarcely know that we were gone, that we were gone, that we were gone, that we were gone, that we were gone,
Today is
that we were
October 5th,
gone.
2026. Today is October 5th, 2026.
You have just heard The Martian Chronicles, a dramatization of highlights from the new novel by Ray Bradbury. Your narrator was Norman Rose, and featured in the cast were Inga Adams, Roger DeKoven, and Donald Buca. Music by Albert Berman, engineer Bill Chambers. Dimension X is produced by Van Woodward and directed by Jack Cuney. In a moment, we'll tell you about next week's show. And now, here is your Wheaties man, Frank Martin. Go out and get the Wheaties. It's National Wheaties Week. Yep, this is the week everybody's trying Wheaties. See yourself how Wheaties at 7 can help at 11. A better breakfast beginning with Wheaties can help make a wonderful difference. because there's a whole kernel of wheat in every Wheaties flake. So eat happy, work happy. Wheaties, breakfast of champions. Get yours. Get yours. It's National Wheaties Week.
Next week, the strange and chilling story of the parade. The parade that suddenly turned into a funeral procession for the world of tomorrow. The world of...
Dimension X.
And this is the Wheaties man, Frank Martin, inviting you to listen on Saturday, that's tomorrow night, to Joel McRae in Tales of the Texas Rangers on the Wheaties Big Parade. See you then. Remember, it's National Wheaties Week.
Swing your partners right and left. It's National Wheaties Week. Come on, everybody, to the Wheaties party. Eat a lot of Wheaties like the champions do. Dance together, cheek to cheek. This is National Wheaties Week. Eat a lot of Wheaties like the champions do. Wheaties, a breakfast of champions.
The preceding was transcribed.
Suspense. And the producer of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
All the tender platitudes about the innocence of childhood are uttered by grown-ups. As any realistically observant parent can tell you, small children are thieves, liars, and potential murderers. And no grown-up can hope to understand the savage jungle in which the little one struggles to exist. There is no line of communication. Words are useless. Only with love, discipline, and luck can the helpless parent hope to lead the bewildered child toward the grown-up world where things are not always what they seem. But what if the parents were to be denied that opportunity? What if the innocent little children were to take over the world at 5 o'clock some quiet summer afternoon? Listen, Evelyn Rudy stars in Ray Bradbury's chilling story of childhood, 0 Hour, which begins in just a moment.
In what form can an act of military heroism be acknowledged? In one example, the form is a rectangular blue ribbon set in a gold-colored metal frame of laurel leaves, worn centered over the right breast pocket of the uniform. A bronze oak leaf cluster may be affixed to the ribbon for each subsequent award of the same decoration. This is the emblem of the Distinguished Unit Citation, awarded to units of our armed forces and those of our allies for extraordinary heroism in action against an armed enemy. One of America's newer military decorations, it is designated to recognize activity on or after December 7th, 1941. The Distinguished Unit Campaign streamer is blue, with the name of the cited action embroidered in white. To be eligible for this citation, the degree of heroism required is the same as that which, in an individual, would warrant the presentation of our second highest award for valor, the Distinguished Service Cross. The Distinguished Unit emblem may be worn permanently by all those involved in the cited action, but for those individuals joining the unit later, the emblem may be worn only for the duration of their assignment. Both as individuals and as members of military units, America's servicemen have proved themselves worthy of medals and worthy of admiration by their countrymen.
And now, 0 Hour, starring Evelyn Rudy. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
What a game. Such excitement the children hadn't known in their whole lives. Mink talked earnestly to someone near the rose bush, though no one was there. And then the two little girls shouting and laughing at each other. Such fun, such tremendous joy, it was all Mink's mother could do to get her grimy and excited daughter in for lunch.
Goodness, Mink, I've never heard such a racket out in the garden. What are you and Anna up to?
The most exciting game ever. Just ever.
Oh, and what's the name of the game?
Invasion.
Invasion? Well, invasion will just have to wait until you've eaten your lunch properly. Now, slow down, young lady. Do you hear me?
Can't. Drill's waiting for me.
Drill? Well, what a peculiar name. Is he a new boy in the neighborhood, dear?
He's new, all right.
I don't think I've seen him. Which one is Drill?
Oh, he's just around. I've got to go now, Mom, if we're going to have the invasion.
You finish your milk, miss. Now, who's invading what?
The Martians are invading the Earth.
Oh, I see. And Drill's a Martian,
I think so. He's had a very hard time getting here.
I should imagine.
They couldn't figure out a way to attack Earth, how to get in or something. And Drill says they have to do it by surprise, and even get help from your enemy.
Oh, a fifth column.
Yes, and all this time they haven't been able to figure out how to attack, until one day they thought of children.
Well, that was bright of them.
And they thought of how grown-ups are so busy they never look under rose bushes or on lawns.
That's where Drill is now, under the rose bush?
Mm-hmm. With all his friends, too. And he says there's something about kids under 11 with imagination. It's real funny to hear Drill talk.
It must be. Well, you can run along now, so you can have your invasion before dark. Bath tonight, school tomorrow, you know.
Drill says I won't have to take any more baths.
Oh, he does he?
And we can stay up till 10 o'clock.
Well, your friend, Mr. Drill, better mind his P's and Q's, or I'm going to call up his mother.
That's just it. Drill says you're dangerous, because you don't believe in Martians. Just like you think Drill's a kid. Well, he's not. And they're going to let us run the world when they get in. All of us kids. And I might even be queen.
Well, that's nice, dear. Now run along.
Mom?
What is it, dear?
Mom, when the invasion comes, we'll have to get rid of you and Daddy. But I'll be sure it won't hurt very much.
Well, thanks. Thanks a lot. Hello?
Hello, Mary.
Helen.
How are you?
Well, how nice. Are you in town?
No, I'm up home in Plainfield. I was just thinking of you. Thought I'd call.
Well, it's long distance, though. You shouldn't.
I can afford 3 minutes. How's Henry?
Oh, fine. And Bill?
Just fine. What about Mink?
Oh, wonderful. Noisier than ever. She's got a new game now. It's taken the place of hopscotch. Invasion.
Is she playing that, too?
Mm-hmm. Are yours?
Same thing. Some kind of geometric jacks, I suppose. Isn't it a scream? All the kids their age are playing it up here. Timmy's got a crush on some guy named, Drill. I think that's what it is.
Must be a new password. Mink likes him, too.
I didn't know it had got to your part of the world. Word of mouth, I suppose. You know kids.
Oh, sure.
Funniest thing, I got a letter from my sister in Boston. She says her kids are playing it, too, sweeping the country.
Well, I wonder where they learned it.
Well, don't ask me. All I know is what Timmy told me at lunch. 0 hours at 5 o'clock.
When?
5 o'clock today. That's when the invasion's going to be. These kids and their imagination. Oh, I wanted to
And they
tell you
talked a
about
little
Grace's
more.
job.
Schoolgirl friends.
So excited about it.
Casual
You know
woman
how long
talk,
it's
but
been
Mrs.
waiting
Morris
for
was
the promotion,
thoughtful.
and it's fun.
She was thinking of other things.
Helen, I'm so
Of
glad.
adults, of little children with imagination, rose bushes, and their unseen friend named Drill. And she thought of how much she'd forgotten about being a child. And she wondered about Mink and all the kids everywhere who at that moment were playing Invasion.
In a moment, we continue with the second act of Suspense.
Another visit with Joe and Daphne Forsythe.
Joe. 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 Joseph.
Yeah, I'm up. Pour the coffee. I'll be right in.
Relax. It's 3 in the morning.
Huh?
I said relax. It's 3 in the morning.
I was relaxed. Daphne, why did you wake me up?
Well, I was just wondering what happened to our savings bonds.
You were what?
I had a dream. I dreamed you lost all of your money and all we had left were our savings bonds.
I see.
So I just wanted to make sure they were all right.
They're all right. They're with the other important papers.
You're sure?
Of course I'm sure.
Well, I just don't want anything to happen to them. Savings bonds are the most secure form of investment.
Why, the whole faith and credit of the United States stand behind those bonds of ours.
Uh-huh.
So they're even better than dollars in your pocket because the government stands behind them and protects them.
Uh-huh.
And they protect us too, Joe. Every bond is an investment in our country, in our security and freedoms. Joe? Well, how about that? He feels so secure he went back to sleep. Good night, darling.
And now, starring Evelyn Rudy, Act Two of 0 Hour.
Inside the Morris house, an hour drowsed by, while all across the town in other gardens and other backyards, little children were excitedly playing a game, talking to rose bushes and grass lawns, trees and shrubs. Even children in apartment houses high in the air, conferring with potted plants, cactus and ivy. Mrs. Morris had finished her mending and gone back to the kitchen when Mink burst in.
Hello, dear.
Hi, Mom. Can I have a glass of water?
Oh, of course. I'll get it.
Pi r squared 47. 8 over 56 to the 7th degree.
What, dear?
Oh, nothing, Mom.
Here's your water.
Thanks.
How are things going? The invasion.
Oh, that.
Yes, that.
Almost finished. Drill says we should be ready on time.
5 o'clock?
That's right. How did you know?
Well, Helen called me from Plainfield. She says Timmy's playing it, too.
Hey, that's keen.
I guess all the kids are. Aren't they?
No, not all of them. Not guys like Jill Essling and Jimmy Woods. They're growing up. They make fun of us. They're worse than parents. Well, we'll get rid of them. Drill says it's okay to kill them, too.
Now, I don't like that kind of talk, Mink. Do you hear me? I don't like it at all.
Oh, Mom.
I mean it. You keep on that way, and there's no more playing. You'll have to tell Anna to go home, and you'll just stay inside until bedtime.
I'm sorry.
Well, I should think so.
Thanks for the water, Mom.
Mink?
Uh-huh.
What did those numbers mean?
What numbers?
Those numbers you were saying to yourself a minute ago.
Oh, that. They're things we have to do to get Drill and his friends out. That's all.
Look, dear, why don't you and Anna go down to the drugstore and get yourself some ice cream? You don't have to use your allowance. I'll give you the money.
Haven't got time, Mom. Thanks.
Well, I never thought I'd hear you say that.
I gotta go now, Mom.
Now, wait a minute. Mink, I want you to tell me the truth. What is this invasion silliness?
It isn't silly. It's just a game, that's all. We're just playing at invasion, Mom. Excuse me, I've got to get back now. See you later.
Mrs. Morris was disturbed. She wasn't sure why, but because she was disturbed, she did something she didn't usually do. She called her husband at the office.
Hello, dear.
Hello, Henry. I'm sorry to bother you, but Miss Maxon said you weren't busy.
Well, not too. I should be able to get home early today. Is everything all right?
Yes.
Are you all right?
Fine.
Mink?
She's... Henry.
What, dear?
Oh, nothing. I just felt like talking to you for a minute, that's all.
Listen, are you sure you're all right?
Yes.
Mink been getting on your nerves?
No, not really. She's playing outside. She's fine.
Honey, is something wrong?
Well, no, I told you. I was thinking about you, and I wanted to talk, that's all. What time do you think you'll be home?
About 5, maybe a little earlier.
5. Oh.
Hey, what do you mean, oh?
Well, I was just thinking... Oh, it's nothing, really. Goodbye, dear.
You are okay, aren't you?
Yes, I'm fine. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Another hour passed, and it was 4:30. Outside, it was quiet. The two little girls more intent than ever upon the endless movement of their game. Mrs. Morris watched from the window, and she had never known Mink to have such powers of concentration. She had turned on the radio and sat drinking a cup of coffee, turning over her thoughts.
Children. Children. Love and hate, side by side. Sometimes children love you and hate you, all in half a second. Strange children. Do they ever forget or forgive the whippings and the harsh, strict words of command? I wonder. I wonder. How can you forget or forgive those over and above you? Those tall, silly dictators. Those parents.
Mom!
What is it, dear?
Have we got a piece of lead pipe and a hammer?
I don't know. There might be in the garage. What do you want them for?
Oh, we just need them.
Well, if you tell me, I can go
I can get them. Thanks, Mom.
Is something wrong?
Yes, Drill's stuck halfway. If we could get him all the way through, it'd be easier. Then all the others could come through after him.
Oh, can I help?
Thanks, Mom. I can do it.
Well, you better hurry, Mink. I want you to take your bath before your father comes home.
All right.
He's coming home early, and Mink?
Mink had disappeared behind the shrubs. And Mrs. Morris knew it was ridiculous to make an issue of it. And besides, what was the issue? Invasion? Drill? 0 hour? Just a child's game. Time passed. A curious waiting silence came upon the street, deepening. Then from the living room, Mrs. Morris heard... "5 o'clock. 0 hour. It had come. And now it had gone. But was the clock right? And Mrs. Morris, knowing how foolish it was, knowing it was 5 o'clock, went to the phone and dialed.
Oh, silly. Silly.
The time is 4:54 and 20 seconds.
In a moment, we continue with the third act of Suspense.
We have, together, ample capacity and freedom to defend freedom. This is NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. NATO possesses a shield of well-equipped, highly trained land and sea forces, plus tactical air support and special units. The NATO shield extends from north of Norway to the eastern mountains of Anatolia in Asian Turkey. Complete disposition of forces is covered by a radar warning system, plus a perfected network of telecommunications, enabling the Supreme Commander to direct operations with extreme rapidity over a 2,000-mile front. The United States of America is a part of NATO. You should be aware of and alert to the programs and objectives of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
And now, starring Evelyn Rudy, Act 3 of 0 Hour.
"4:54 and 20 seconds. And Mrs. Morris knew that it wasn't as silly as she had thought, because it wasn't 5 o'clock yet. Not 0 hour yet. And then she heard the car drive in, and her husband greeting her daughter.
Hi, Meg.
Hi, Daddy.
How's it going?
Fine.
You got a kiss for me?
I haven't got time now, Daddy.
Now, that's a nice thing. What are you doing?
We're playing Invasion.
Swell. Your mother in the house?
Yes,
Okay, be good.
I will. 0 hour in a few minutes, Daddy.
All right, I'll be ready. Mary?
I'm in the living room, dear.
Oh. Hi.
Hi.
Our daughter didn't have time for a kiss. How about you?
Hard day?
Ooh, not particularly.
Would you like a cocktail?
You read my mind.
Martini?
Perfect. Anything exciting happen today?
No. Oh, Helen called.
Oh?
From Plainfield. I told her she was crazy, but she just felt like calling.
Like you calling me this afternoon, huh? Crazy, huh? What was that all about?
I told you. I wanted to.
Incidentally, what's this new game the kids are playing? Invasion? That's a nice, depressing thought. Is Mick all right? Come to think of it, she looked kind of funny.
She's all right. What time is it, Henry?
Oh, a couple minutes after 5. Why?
Well, no, the clock's wrong. By your watch.
Oh, I've got 2 minutes, too. I'm probably slow. You got something on the stove?
No. Just wondered.
Honey, Hey, look at me. Now, what's the matter?
Nothing, really.
Now, listen.
Really?
Mink's been up to something.
Oh, of course not.
Well, then what?
Well, I guess I'm just a little tired and upset, that's all.
You want to go out for dinner?
No, I've got steak in the icebox.
I'll tell you what, I'll barbecue it. How'd that be?
Fine. What was that?
What?
I thought I heard something.
I didn't.
Must have been imagining it.
Boy, you are jumpy. Why don't you have a drink? It'll do you good.
No, I don't want one. What time is it now?
Mary, what is this? I mean it. Now, something's wrong, and I want to know.
Oh, it's silly. It's just silly. I'm on edge, that's all.
Mary, there's...
I am.
I don't like it. Now, that kid's done something, hasn't she? I'm going to get her in.
No,
here.
Henry, please don't. She hasn't. It's nothing at all. I just...
What's that?
I don't know.
Those kids haven't got anything dangerous out there, have they? I noticed a lot of junk lying around.
I thought it was a game. She wouldn't have done it herself. They've made her do it.
What the devil is
You better
it?
go out and tell them to stop playing now. It's after 5. You tell Mink to put off the invasion till tomorrow. Tell her.
What are they up to? I'd better take a look. Mink? Mink! Good Lord, it's outside there.
No, it's upstairs. I know it. In the attic. That's where it is.
Mary, it's not up there. It's outside.
It's in the attic. That's where it is.
Her mind had worked that quickly. Any excuse to get her husband away from the outside to get him upstairs to the attic in time. And outside, there were more eerie explosions. And they could hear the children screaming with delight.
It's not in the attic. It's outside. And Mink's out there. Now, what's the matter with you?
Oh, no, I'll show you. Hurry. Get inside quick. Now we're safe until tonight. Maybe we can sneak out later. Maybe we can escape.
Are you crazy? Why'd you throw the key away? For heaven's sake, the kid's out there. You want her to get hurt?
No, you don't. We've got to stay here. We've got to. You've got to stay here with me.
I don't know how I can get out. Where's that light switch?
Shh, quiet. Please be quiet. They'll hear us. They'll find us. Henry, please.
There's that noise again. It's in the house now, Mary. Mary, what is this? What's happening? Now, you know. Answer me.
No.
Stop that, Mary. Somebody's downstairs. Now, who's down there? Who?
No, please be
Mary!
quiet. They might go away. Please.
And between his wife's terror and the electric humming from below, Mr. Morris felt a great fear. They trembled together in silence in the attic. Mr. and Mrs. Morris, parents of the little girl named Mink. Then they heard steps coming up the stairs. And a voice. And a queer, cold light became visible under the door crack. A strange odor and the alien sound of eagerness in Mink's voice was almost more than they could bear.
Mommy? Daddy?
And another sound. And the lock to the attic door melted. Mink, with bright little eyes and tousled hair, peered inside. And behind her, tall, wavering blue shadows. Frightful shadows.
Peekaboo!
Suspense, in which Evelyn Rudy starred in William N. Robeson's production of 0 Hour, written by Ray Bradbury and adapted for suspense by Anthony Ellis. Supporting Evelyn Rudy in 0 Hour were Lillian Bayef, Ellen Morgan, Carl Swenson, and Vic Perrin. Listen. Listen again next week when we return with Ted Reed starring in a first radio play about the Beat Generation. Its subject, murder. Its title, Like Man Somebody Dig Me. Another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
This is the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever Dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York, marketers of Richfield gasolines, motor oils, and other petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to a gigantic rocket ship about to be shocked into space on man's first voyage to Mars. As Ray Bradbury tells it in his famous science fiction story, Mars is heaven.
The project is magnificent, overwhelming, and tremendous. We return you now to the scene of the takeoff in the desert of New Mexico. Go ahead, New Mexico.
Thank you, London. This is Stuart Novins back in New Mexico. I'm standing here on the great steel observation platform overlooking the takeoff stand. As the moment for departure draws nearer, the whole area has been flooded with artificial light. It bathes a spaceship in a kind of silver luminescence, and surrounding it, engulfing it, this subdued hysteria of hundreds of thousands of people come to see the start of this incredible voyage of 18 men in the rocket ship, the Venture. It's standing there pointing upward, pointing toward the heavens, and in a few minutes it will bloom out into great flowers of heat and color, shocked into space on man's first voyage to Mars. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, prayers are being said for these 18 men and their ship, the first men, the first ship to dare the voyage to another planet. Prayers are being said by every creed in mosques and churches and synagogues the world over. We take you now to the Basilica of St. Paul's in Rome. This is New Mexico again. We're sorry to cut in, but that roar you're hearing, the roar of the crowd, it's the moment we've been waiting for. I can see the crew of the Venture walking up the catwalk that leads to the spaceship. The men are entering, and now the escape hatch is closed. Now the men are in the ship. This silence, this great, awful silence of the crowd, it's the voiceless prayer that's in every heart. They're about ready now. Some lights from the ship just blinked on and off. It's a signal. In just a few seconds, a few more. Stand by. Stand by. They're gone. The Venture. It's out of sight.
Log entry, U.S. rocket ship Venture. 1 hour out from Earth, destination Mars. Past Keneally heaviside layer without incident. Rate of speed, 450,000 miles per hour. With planet Mars at its closest point to Earth, 35 million miles. Calculate duration of voyage to be roughly 3.5 days. Captain John Black, master. Log entry, U.S. rocket ship, the Venture. 12 hours out from Earth. While navigating supertensioned atmospheric forces, port shield generator broke down. Replaced by booster. Yes?
Lieutenant Lustig reporting, sir.
Come in, Pete.
Have the report on the trajectory, sir?
Put it on my desk. Pete?
Yes, sir.
How do you feel?
Feel? Why, just wonderful, sir. Sitting up there in the observation turret, I don't know just how to say it. The sights, I mean. Moon so close and Earth looking like... and Mars, sir. Sir? Do you really think we'll make it?
Bye.